right, welcome in to the Ryan Ripken Show. We're starting off with a bang. We're rolling, right, Zach?
Yeah, we're live.
Oh, we are? Okay, cool. I can't see a thing on my laptop here. But, hey, welcome into the Ryan Ripken Show. Happy Wednesday here. Look, we got a lot to discuss here, but every Wednesday we're also cooking it up with the Iron Rooster. We'll get into all of that and a lot more here in a moment. Yes, we did sit down today with Mike Elias, Executive Vice President and General Manager of the Baltimore Orioles. We will discuss that in depth throughout the course of the show. Then Daniel Alvarez Montez is going to join us this afternoon, roughly in about an hour. Talk a little bit around baseball, but then he is based out of Miami with El Extra Base. And guess who's swinging the bat just as good as anyone in the National League? Mr. Kyle Stowers, former Baltimore Oriole. So we got all of that and a whole lot more, including a big-time wide receiver is leaving the AFC North, a wild story that a future Hall of Fame tight end could have been a Baltimore Raven, and then, yes, there's a couple other news and notes that are baseball-worthy. Without further ado, we do have somewhat of a full house in here today. So to my right, we have Zach Bollinger.
How's it going? 1-0 on my bets last night. So there it is. Freddie Freeman, 2+ bases, said on the show. Got 5 of them. So there you go.
I'm proud of you.
Feeling good.
Really good hitter. Really good hitter. And, behind the sticks, we got Mr. Brad Smith in the building. Brad, how we doing?
Hi. I'm doing all right. Just making some adjustments.
All right. Well, we're glad you're able to make all the adjustments. And while you're doing that, we're getting the food set up for round 1 here. And without further ado, every Wednesday we're cooking it with Kyle and the Iron Rooster. Kyle.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me again. Always great to see all of you here. And I'm excited about today. We got some good food. Cheesesteaks, you can't beat cheesesteaks.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And we're going with a couple of different versions of cheesesteaks, too. We'll make a classic. We're going to go with Cheese Whiz, which is like whiz with. And then I'll save the last one for a surprise when we get ready to go.
Ooh.
Yeah.
3 cheesesteaks, and yours truly is going to get over there and help start cooking some of them.
Ready.
When do you need me?
Whenever you get over here, we'll start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to do this in a couple phases here. So to start this off, because we know a lot of people want to hear what Mike Elias had to say. First off, as always, though, got to shout out Merit Clubs here for sponsoring this episode, meritclubs.com. We're actually looking to do a show there next week. And if you're looking for a 2-week free membership on us, we'll add the link into the stream. You use the code RIP25. I'll get that on the banner here in a second. And then we will be rocking and rolling. But Merit Clubs, we appreciate you guys. Their pool's opening this weekend, fellas. Just saying. We are going to be rocking and rolling. And why don't we start rocking and rolling then with the first Mike Elias clip? We got a few, and we'll put out the entire interview later on. But it's no secret that the Orioles are off to a rough start, and that's where we're going to start this discussion. And, Zach, you can help out with the clips. You help us put them in here. Let's start with Mike Elias and on how this season has started off here for the Baltimore Orioles. GM here, I know that this weighs on you as a whole. Could you just kind of touch on what it is on the day-to-day that you kind of assess, and maybe even past the number side of it? But I do know you personally, this is something you have a lot of pride in, and I know it's not reaching the standard that you're hoping.
Yeah, as we're talking right here, I mean, we're off to an incredibly disappointing start. Had very high expectations going into the season. I think the rest of the league had high expectations for us. And to come out of the blocks with a bad record, just a lot of things going wrong everywhere you look. It's been really rough on all of us. We pour ourselves into this team. It's everything we do every day of our lives, and to have something like this happen to start the season, it's very rough. And you start to self-reflect and, things that you could do differently, things that you'll do differently going forward. But also the reality of it is we've had a lot of bad breaks too. We have a tremendous amount of talent on the injured list right now. Some of those are freak injuries, guys break a thumb or something like that. And I do think we have a lot of our young hitters, or a few of our young hitters, that are kind of front and center. If you look at their expected statistics, which we have nowadays. I think they're hitting into some bad luck, but the rotation's been bad, like a lot worse than I think anyone expected, and that's put us behind the 8 ball a lot. And then our lineup just hasn't been clicking. And then we've had injuries, and this is all coming on the heels of 2 really good regular seasons, but 2 playoff disappointments. So it's not something to sugarcoat. You know, we're in a spot right now that we do not want to be, and we feel terrible about it, but we do have time on our side, and we've got a lot of talent on the field and in the organization, and we will put our weight behind figuring this out and trying to get our record better and put ourselves in a position to get back where we belong, which is in the postseason play. But, you know, we definitely have our work cut out for us, and it's been a crappy start.
So crappy start to say the least, right? And you can hear me okay, everyone?
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, look, we have a few pieces of this interview we're going to share during the show. The first thing that I want to point out and I want to appreciate with Mike Elias, you don't have to agree with everything that he's done. You don't have to agree with the moves. You don't have to agree with how you think the direction of the team of where it's going. But a general manager, a guy in position, is coming out and saying it is a disappointment. And it does lie on him. And he's not shying away from that. It is documented that the pitching staff, like he said, is worse than they even thought. And we knew it was going to be a weakness going in. When you didn't have the full-on ace, then you lose Grayson Rodriguez, and then your best pitcher, Zach Eflin, has to miss time. So all of this is understandable, right? But I do applaud, at least to start off, he's not afraid to say of going, you know what? This is not up to our standards. We are not playing the way that we expect. We had the most wins in the American League the last 2 years, and right now we are not good enough to go on and win games. So that's the opening start, Zach, and we talked about this for a long time. Yeah. It's not perfect, but I do appreciate that's the opening part of it is he's not satisfied with where this team is, and nor is that an acceptable standard here in Baltimore.
Yeah, and I also want to point out that this was the very start of the interview. This was the first thing off the rip. First thing Mike Elias says is, hey, this season's been a disappointment. This sucks where we're at. And you know what? I'll give it to him. He came out and should have said, yeah, our pitching's been bad. Yeah. It's worse than any. I don't want to go on the step that he said and say it's worse than anyone thought. I think a lot of people, after especially Grayson went down to start the season, looking at the roster, saw that the starting pitching could be an issue. But injuries have hurt them because, like we've talked about before, obviously Grayson, obviously Eflin, that hurts. That sucks. You know, the freak injuries with Kowser, Westberg being out, stuff like that. But I'm glad he acknowledged as well, like, hey, and we're going to get in this more. These guys aren't playing. Like, they're not producing. Right. Even the guys, these young guys, they're not producing like you'd want. These pitchers, even though, yeah, you weren't expecting Charlie Morton to be your savior, no one saw Charlie Morton. I mean, the Orioles are like 0-8 when Charlie Morton pitches, and they're 8 games below 500. Like,
and
you
he's
did
starting
not
today.
Yeah, and because
right.
Brad, don't worry. When they announced that on Kevin and Zach React last night, I had a reaction.
Well, so I will say that he might not have mentioned it with us, but earlier today on I think it was 105.7, he actually did acknowledge the pitching situation. But to your point, Zach, I mean, the O's are allowing over 5 runs a game from starting pitching. Their ERAs are 5, and you know, and then you compound that with no run support, it spells disaster.
No, for sure. There's so many different ways that we can take this, you know. And one thing I also want to point out, and I know people are frustrated, but what if Mike Elias just came out and said, this team, I hate everything about this team. Does that make you feel better?
It depends on the fan.
It depends on who you're going to ask.
Yeah, it depends on the fan.
Some fans might love that. If he came out and trashed the team, there were some fans who would be big Mike Elias supporters suddenly.
Yeah.
But they might not like this answer, but I'd rather the guy in front, he's not pointing the finger at anybody else. He's saying it's myself.
Yeah.
And I constructed this
roster. I love that.
They're not playing well.
Right.
Now, players will tell you, and people are not going to always admit this, and I can move away from the sizzler for a second here.
Yeah.
We're good. Should I move over here for a second as I keep roaming?
Yeah, do that.
And as we keep roaming here, as it starts to sizzle on the cheesesteaks here,
So
it's going to be
good.
delicious. But one thing I really wanted to get the point across. When you're in a position right now, and the season still has a long way to go, 13-21, and it's not pretty. And in the next couple of clips, right, we have it clipped up. Or I think we clipped it up, Zach, of, oh, no, maybe we need to add to that, was how long you wait.
Yeah.
How long you're going to wait here before you can really assess. Because we've said this. Mark DeRosa's talked about. He said 40, 50 games. I grew up with the understanding around June. That was a time that people talked about. When does it become a real big panic? Because you're right. Right now, they're missing a lot of guys.
Yeah.
A lot. If Grayson Rodriguez and Zach Eflin were on the team right now going into this team probably is around 500.
Yeah.
Would be my guess. So you feel a lot better, but this is the hand that you're dealt. Only one team has a winning record for this month of May right now. Moving forward, they already played Kansas City. They lost that series.
Mm-hmm.
Twins, Angels, Twins again, Nats. The Brewers are one game over 500. White Sox and Red Sox, I think, are the teams that they have left, whatever it is. This is a moving month for the Orioles.
Yeah.
So before we get into more of the interview part, the Orioles right now need to focus on finding a way to win this series in Minnesota. It starts tonight, and look, I know everyone's thinking, well, damn.
I'm not. I
They're
don't even know if I
worried.
want to watch that game.
They're worried.
I received a text from my father today, and he said, "Is it true Charlie Morton's pitching?" And I said, "It was in the family group chat." My mom's like, "Yeah, he is," and my dad just responded, "I can't watch. I'm sorry."
Yeah,
Like, and but that's the unfortunate part.
that.
And when we talk about, obviously the Corbin Burns situation, over the offseason, the one move that I point to, and we saw it happen last night, we saw exactly, it come and punch the Orioles in the face. The one move that I genuinely looked at as just mind-boggling was that they did not bring back Danny Coulomb on the price that his option was, but you were willing to spend more money on other guys that I feel like aren't even as good as Danny, aren't as reliable. Oh, Danny
and then
Coulomb
to see what he's doing right now.
Yeah, just a 0 ERA across 13 innings and 15 appearances. I mean, just it really is. That's the one move of the guys. Like, I understood Santander didn't like the offer, whatever. They probably knew they were moving on from that.
Yep.
They knew Corbin was going else, probably to Arizona. If they're a part of it, they were still, in on that. The one move that I felt like they just kind of shot themselves in the foot on was not bringing back, I would argue, outside of Felix, but then he was hurt.
Right.
Your most reliable reliever over the past 2 years.
Danny Coulomb, and guess what? He shoved it right up there.
Yeah,
last
that's
night.
what I said. Got punched in the mouth by your own mistake.
But to that point, and look, we discussed this. You don't have to like this answer.
Right.
But you make a decision, you live with the results. And for Mike Elias and the Orioles, you said, hey, medically, we're worried about Danny's elbow. And I can tell you personally, there was red flags with the elbow. But the thing is, you go, all right, am I going to go with a medical decision, or are we going to say, screw it, this guy's a gamer? Personally, I would go with the screw it, this guy's a gamer. And if we lose him for the season, I can live with the fact because I know what I have if he's on the field.
Right.
They chose to not do that. They chose to go somewhere else, and it hasn't worked out. That's a choice. It's over. That is what it is. I see some comments here about, well, this development of young players and, oh, what are you going to do next? Well, we're actually going to talk about more of that in the interview because we talked about the young players and what he learned from this year to last year. And there's one theme with the young players, Zach and Brad, that we're going to continue to talk about, and it's dealing with pressure and adversity. And we asked Mike Elias about that specifically with these young guys. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show here. We do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday right here in studio. And it is Wednesday, so we are cooking with Kyle. And now that it's starting to get going here, Kyle, what is our first cheesesteak that we're going with?
All right, so we're going with the classic, right? Provolone cheese, peppers, onions, shaved ribeye. You can't beat just a classic cheesesteak. What's your go-to on the cheesesteak side? Do you have something that you're like, this is what I get every single time? You like to switch it up? What's your
Like what I want in it? And
Yeah.
these are toppings, by the way, like onions and peppers are toppings.
Yeah,
We're going to
correct.
clarify that, right?
Yes.
I'm good with that, honestly.
Okay.
I'm good with a little pepper sauce, or I guess not sausage. I've had a sausage.
Rip is plain
cheesesteak.
AF. Just that's the answer. Plain.
Plain. Yeah. Which listen,
whoa. I like my toppings. I don't need to dress it up. Cheese is not a topping, by the way, on a cheesesteak. Okay.
cheese is not a top.
Well, it's not a
Thank you.
cheesesteak without cheese.
I know. Okay, I digress. Keep going, Kyle.
Well, why don't you take the spatula?
Yeah, let me show you that.
Right. You're gonna left-handed. We figured out last week you're left-handed, so we'll stay.
Am I just flipping?
Yep. Just keep flipping. You want to kind of give it a chop. The good part about, I usually recommend going with a sirloin or going with a ribeye for the cheesesteak, just because of the tenderness of it. Right. You slice it super thin, a little bit of salt and pepper, and we're looking for like char. Right. We want kind of the caramelization to happen with the onions and the peppers.
Hell yeah.
And the beef. So, yeah, you just want to keep chopping that. And then, the good part about a cheesesteak is that you can top it however you'd like. I've seen it go in a whole bunch of different ways. Some people like mayonnaise, lettuce, tomato.
Yep.
I've seen pickles, fried onions. We went classic on this time. And then what you're going to want to try to do as we start to get a little bit more doneness, which you're almost there, is to kind of get it into the shape of the bread. Because what we'll do is we'll put the cheese over it, and then we'll put the bread on top of that. And then the coup de grace here is going to be you getting it off of the griddle on the bread all at the same time.
Oh boy.
You want to see magic happen? Is what you're saying?
Listen, I could see this going one of two ways, Brad. Either he nails it first try, or Ollie's going to eat most of
Yes.
the cheesesteak
Disaster.
at this point. So, you're looking at about a 10-inch hoagie, right? So hoagie roll. These are Amoroso rolls, which are right out of Philadelphia.
This is as Philly as you can get.
For me, the bread makes everything
Yeah.
when it comes to the cheesesteak. If you go with the wrong bread, it's all over, right? So
It's all in the bread.
Yeah. So that's my personal opinion. This is
I
a
agree.
great bread choice.
I actually was having, this is so funny we're talking about this. I was having this argument literally last week about someone with Philly cheesesteaks about how the bread is so important.
Yeah.
A bad bread, like it doesn't matter how good the cheesesteak is. If it's bad bread, it will change the direction of the sandwich.
Yep.
100%. And, especially for the cheesesteak side, there's also an argument to go back and forth. Is it a softer roll, or do you like that crisp kind of outside texture?
I think it all depends on, honestly, just the type of bread. I feel like I've had both, and both I've had good and bads of both.
Yeah.
Like it really, it depends. I'm not really sure.
I'm of the opinion that you want that crisp
Mhm.
outside and then that kind of soft doughy
Yes.
bread inside.
Yeah. I think
So-
that's the best bet.
And that's what I do constantly. I just cook up gold here. Solid gold. Have you ever seen Gold Member, Zach?
No.
Solid
Never seen it?
gold.
No.
Gee.
Have you really not?
No.
Austin Powers? Gold member?
His Vaja.
No,
the
I think
Vaja.
people
smoking a
forget
pancake.
that like
Pipe and a
Kevin takes so much heat off of me because every direction about this stuff is immediately directed towards him.
Yeah.
But I would also be shooting the same percentage as him, but no one asks me. And there'll be times where Kevin will get a question and I will look up the lyrics and then I'll be like, Kevin, how do you not get this? It's part of showbiz.
So you've never had a pipe and a crepe?
No.
Bunk riblets,
Smoking a pancake.
smoking a pancake. Well, there's just no pleasing you. Dude, you know what? That's your guys' homework. If you want to be a part of things moving forward with the Ryan Ripken Show and Ryan Ripken Media, you are going to go home
Yes.
and you are going to recite Gold Member.
We'll have to have a Kevin and Zach react. During our 24-hour show, me and Kevin, when we hit 2,400 subscribers, go subscribe over to Kevin and
Is
Zach
it at
React. If you have-
24 and a hundred? Oh, my
2,400. We're going live for 24 hours. We're gonna make it so we're like bookending Oriole games, like a night game into a day game. So we kind of like
I feel like it's
live
such a.
react
I mean,
to the night game and then go into ending with the reaction to the day game.
it feels like such a low bar. Like I would do 24 hours if it was like 24K.
Oh yeah, well that's
Maybe
me and Kevin said we were doing
240,000?
for this, but then we were like, we're just gonna speed up the process.
Well-
I think Kevin is the one who keeps on like at 2,400. I think he just wants to do a 24-hour stream.
He's frisky for a 24-hour stream.
Yeah.
And if we get the 24 hours or 24,000 subscribers for the Ryan Ripken Show, then Kevin can gladly do a 24-hour stream while
In here, Kevin could entertain himself for a long time for 24 hours.
Oh yeah, I do it all the time.
Like I was saying, like he could have 3 hours committed to him doing a Papa Shot challenge of like hitting 40 straight shots or something.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
actually, I'm
Did you
writing
ever
this
see
down.
that room there where they lock you in? I think they give you $1 million if you can stay in there for an hour, and it's a soundproof room where you cannot hear anything.
Yeah, it's like
And it's just the thoughts in your head that come out. And
Yeah.
they said people last 10 minutes. And one person I think went like 59 minutes and then had to
it's
give up.
That's
because
crazy.
it's something about like it's so quiet.
The
The only thing
solitude.
you
Yeah.
can hear is like you like hear the blood rushing in like your ears.
That's
Like it is
crazy.
like that quiet. It's I could never.
I ran a poll, Kyle.
Yeah.
What cheese goes on a cheesesteak? So far, there's 30 votes in. I only gave 3 options because any other option, you're probably a psycho. So Cheese Whiz, American, and Provolone. So far, Provolone's taking the lead at 55%.
I'm a provolone guy. There's a whole whiz with, if you know the Philly area, you've been to Philly, there's actually a way you have to order the cheesesteak, then you can get pushed out of line.
Yeah.
Provolone it for me is the way to go. All right, right.
Are we doing this?
Let's do it. All right. You got your cheese. We went a lot of provolone too. I like a cheesy cheesesteak,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So let's see
So
the magic.
I'm flipping this thing.
So
All at once.
you're gonna
Skip-
go get underneath and then flip over, and you're gonna put it right down here on the board.
Okay.
You can use your hand, your other hand. Yeah,
timeout. So I'm going underneath
yeah.
all the way.
It depends on how you want to go. You want to go from the length or you want to go to the side. It's completely up to you, but you got to get all the way
What's the
underneath.
preference? Like what if you were going to
Oh, boy.
recommend it?
Am
Am I going long ways or width?
I'd say go long ways, just because of the way the griddle's built.
Oh,
I
sure.
think that
Do I
you're
get a
gonna-
plate to prepare
you-
myself?
We can put it right here. Right, get underneath.
You got this.
Keep going. And then you're gonna go over.
Flip
Yeah.
it, just
Flip
flip
it.
it right now?
Yeah,
we're
hurry
gonna
up.
flip it right onto the board. Yeah,
Oh.
perfect.
There you go.
All right, and then you can just transfer that right onto the board here. Yep, nicely done. Perfect.
Not bad.
Ryan.
Not,
Actually,
not bad.
perfect. And then you're gonna let's get that rest of that meat on there because we don't want to lose anything. And then we're gonna go into the next sandwich. I've already got meat cooked off, so I'm gonna put it right on as soon as you transfer that, and then we'll start on the next one, which will be whiz. We'll go cheese whiz and see how that looks for everybody. Nicely done, Ryan. Keep going.
you can't teach this.
Well,
Actually, it's all taught.
one of the sort of perks of being the cook is you get all like the little bits there at the end that you get to eat because it doesn't go on the sandwich. So just that FYI next time, those are all you.
Yeah. He's
Perfect.
not
That's
experienced.
why I did that. Do you want me to get more off?
No,
here?
I think
We're
you're good. Yep.
So, for all of you that are tuning in, this is our first round of cheesesteaks. We're making 3. We have 2, and then Kyle's going to give us the secret of what the last one will be. But you have to wait to see what happens. And throughout the show, we are going to talk about this Mike Elias interview. So we went through part 1. Consider it. Well, we got 3 more parts.
Yeah, 2-3 more parts, and then the full interview will also afterwards. Will be out for people to watch.
So can we?
And also, real fast before we get into anything, I had to bring this up. So Cameron just said he's an audio engineer here. It's called, I'm so sorry, I'm going to mispronounce this,
Anechoic.
anechoic chamber. It truly is scary hearing your blood flowing through your body and hearing your body function. I lasted about 5 minutes.
Wow.
Jesus.
Only 5. Isn't that seem like not a long time?
Yeah, it feels, but I think I would be very fast.
That
if-
sounds like the most humane torture chamber.
yeah, like you're just sitting there, feel like I would. Ooh,
You're trying to get a guy to talk, just throw him in that thing.
Oh,
How did we get on this again? About being in a Kevin.
Kevin.
Million.
Kevin.
There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah.
So
Shocker.
when we get this all set up for this before this next round, when's a good time for us to play the next clip? You think after you explain what this is?
Yeah, that's fine. Yep. You can go ahead if you want to keep chopping that. And this one will cook actually a little bit quicker just because cheese whiz is already melted.
Yeah.
So it's not going to take that long. You can get it all mixed in there. Yep. You're not going to hurt it. And we're going to do the same. Look at that, Ryan. You're making art over there. I got to say, you are making some art, my friend.
Chef Rip.
Yep. Come see Ryan this Sunday, Mother's Day, cooking on the line at Iron
Yeah,
Rooster.
there you go.
We will be ready for him. We got an apron, a t-shirt.
Rent's going up, so someone's got to pay it.
That is true.
I'm not a Cheese Whiz fan, but that does look good, right?
It looks great.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna get it kind of in that same form for the bread, and this one's gonna be a little more difficult just because it's gonna run. So it's okay. You're just gonna put it right down in that same sort of vein. Get that bread. Look at
So am I doing it right
Oh,
now?
I think
Am I waiting or doing it?
I'd give it maybe just 10 seconds there.
Okay.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah, this one is a little bit. I'm a little bit more concerned on this side, just because that cheese is gonna run. But I think you got it. So you're gonna go under and then flip, and then you'll be ready to go.
All right. Ready?
Yep. Okay.
Oh, that could have been.
That's
better.
okay. That's okay. Why don't you go ahead and you can transfer that one right here too, right next to our first one.
Hey.
Oh,
Bad.
something got me. Something got me there.
Yeah, not experienced.
So after we get this next one up, we'll play the next clip with the Mike Elias here
Perfect.
in just a little bit of time. So bear with me.
If you want to use sort of that.
Yeah, you know, they only let the true chefs use the other one.
That's
To be honest, that's what they tell me.
or the people that
Don't
never
say it.
worked at a kids.
Don't.
Either one.
Oh,
Perfect.
God.
It's messed up. I had a
Yeah.
friend named Kyle. I don't anymore.
You're good.
So-
I'm impressed.
All right, we're all set up right there. Can I leave?
Yep.
Or do you want me to leave this?
No, you're good. I'll take that one, and then I'll get this on if you want to go ahead and play the other clip.
Yeah. So to move on to the next clip here, Zach, we talked about with young players,
Yeah.
specifically, and I asked then Mike Elias because one thing that I always thought that these guys were pressing a little bit, and then was it dealing with back to last year where adversity it was hitting you in the face there. He mentioned that, and then at the end of the clip, I want you guys to listen real quickly, or listen to the end of the clip on Mike Elias saying why that's no longer a theme that they want to continue to listen to. So here we go.
No question, it's a different mode mentality when that starts to happen, and it did happen for this team last year. And I think we've had tough luck in the playoffs, and if that had gone differently, it's probably a lot different feeling. And so we're all feeling that right now. But I think the time has passed, or it's passing, for that to be a theme that should continue. There's way too much talent here, and I don't think that this is going to go on forever, where our hitters are pressing. Where we're having a tough time stringing good at bats together, and having half of our starting lineup missing right now is not helping matters much. And that happened in the second half last year. But this is definitely a game that's played by human beings, and those things can affect players. And our expectations for ourselves and this team are really high, and right now we're not meeting them, and it's a grind. But that's something that we have to work through on a day-to-day basis, and the excuses kind of stop.
So right there at the end, that theme where the excuses start to stop. And so I'm going to move this over here for a quick second. Hey, now you guys can still hear me?
Yeah.
Am I still chopping up?
Yeah.
So do you putting the whiz on there, or you want to wait a second?
I can wait. You want to finish up
Give
your
me
thought?
1 second here. So what he said at the end, okay, it's not an excuse anymore, that theme. And the other part that I want to say, we're not probably having this type of worry, fear of everything with the team if the Orioles win a playoff series. Can we just be honest? The elephant in the room. Sorry, I'm that bad.
Well, winning
multitasker.
solves everything.
Winning cures everything. Losing brings everything to fruition. We know that they haven't pitched well. We know the runners in scoring position has not been a good statistic for the Baltimore Orioles. But what we do understand, is that this team has talent. There's no doubt about that the team has talent. When you look around of what they have, Adley Rutschman should be an all-star every year. Gunnar Henderson should be an all-star every year. Jordan Westberg, all-star caliber player.
Jackson Holiday's on his way to being an all-star.
Jackson Holiday. Ryan O'Hearn in the infield. I know Mounty's having his struggles, but Ryan O'Hearn. Cedric Mullins, former all-star, could be an all-star. Colton Cowser, almost rookie of the year all-star. You get my point. They do need to play better. And I do agree. I think that's one thing you're seeing. They are not handling the pressure well. And you got to hope that they get out of it. You can say, well, wait, they got to change their mindset. Well, in some cases, you're right. They do have to change their mentality a little bit. But
yeah, because that's just like turning on a switch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just do it. And when the John Smoltz thing, when you say to yourself, oh, hey, just do this or don't do this, you usually don't do the thing you want to do. So overall, Zach, from hearing that, the last thing at the end, what?
Shots fired at Brad. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Well, the one thing. Wow, he's not wrong about that. Cuba's not wrong that he is older than Brad.
Damn, man.
But we'll get into more of this in a minute here because I know we got some laughs and we're getting this cooked up. I want to finish what I was talking about in just a second because the young guys, you need your young guys to go out there and play. And you can say it's development, but your guys also mentally have to be able to work through it at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I'm glad he brought it up about there being no more excuses, especially the notion or quote unquote excuse of the Orioles are young. These players are young. They're still figuring it out. The only guys I'm giving they're still figuring it out excuse to is Basayo when he gets up, Mayo currently. I would even still give it to Jackson because he's had like 270 at bats, although he's playing very well right now. It can't be an excuse of, oh, well, we still have this young core, the win up. That no, they need to be building off of this core, not being like, well, we have to wait for, they're still learning how to do this. They're still learning how to do that. I don't think it's a coincidence that the two guys that have been most consistent and the best players on this team this season have been the two veterans in Cedric Mullins and Ryan O'Hearn that have been punched in the mouth. They've been punched in the mouth before in their careers. They've been DFA'd. They've been sent down from major leagues to AA because they weren't performing well. They've had to reinvent themselves. The young guys, it does feel like right now at times, they can't get this excuse of, oh, they're still learning. They failed. They have failed all second half of last season. That is okay, we got to learn from that and get on. It's not an excuse anymore if this is their first time failing. They have failed before. This has been going on in the last 110 games. I know we don't like to bring up last season. In the last 110 games, the Orioles are 12 games under 500. This is not just to this season. This is they have been failing for about 4 months of a season at this point, and something needs to change. Some sort of mentality somewhere needs to be fixed because it isn't an excuse anymore. You're no longer that young team. This is a team that needs to win.
Yeah.
And one thing I wanted to add to that as well, when we're talking about mindset, and any player that's going to tell you this, when they say coaching, it's a philosophy and the coaching. I agree. Coaching is very important overall. Come back in here. Hi, smile. Coaching is so important, but the reality of the situation is the players have to go out and play better. And here's my example. You can practice situational hitting. No one talked about the Orioles and situational hitting when they were the top team in baseball in the American League early in the season last year, right? No one mentioned that they were just a home run heavy, run productive, top 5 offense. It was only when the team started to lose games, the pitching was a little bit banged up, and then the offense, they started to feel the pressure. And what's the theme right now? The pitching we knew was going to be a struggle. Starting rotation has been off to a rough start. That's putting it lightly. Your strength had to be your bullpen, which the back end for the most part's been good. They're a little bit overused, in my opinion, already because they've had to be. But then your offense was supposed to be your stable foundation. And guys clearly are still dealing with, how do I get over the hump? So, yes, I do think they got to find a way. And I'll be honest. I've been around. I've been down on the field. I've been around guys. I've heard Brandon Hyde specifically say, hey, we got to shorten up with 2 strikes. I've heard him say it.
Yeah.
I've heard him talk about it. But you can tell someone to do it. And if they don't go out there and do it, is that on you as the coach or is that on you and the player? That's where I'm getting at. I agree that you have to create a precedent and a culture, and Hyde's the one that steers the ship. But, man, the players are also going to say, well, if I'm not going out there and doing my job, is that all on the coaches, or do I need to reflect and go, hey, that's also on me?
Well,
too?
I think there's definitely got to be accountability among the players, and they've already started to do that, right? I mean, that's why Acetti and O'Hearn had that meeting a week or so ago regarding that. Obviously, it hasn't really been too fruitful. I mean, they came out the next day and kicked the shit out of the Yankees, but I don't think that the players are not taking accountability for themselves. I think they are. It's just I don't know.
Well, I think that my point was more in the defense of saying with the coaches. And I see people talking about 3 hitting coaches. I've asked people also about this. Do you have a problem with the hitting coaches? And when I've asked them, the biggest thing you want in a room, are you doing the same drills? Are you on the same wavelength of conversation? Because the thing about voices in your head, if they're giving you 3 different opinions, that's a problem.
Yeah.
But if they're all just there of, hey, let's talk about the same approach and it's linear, there should be no problem. And honestly, you have a lot of hitters on your team. They have more hitting coaches because there's more hitters. That's a different philosophy throughout baseball. I think it's just a team where expectations, guys, this isn't supposed to be a team that's supposed to be contending anymore. They're supposed to be top dogs in the American League.
Mm-hmm.
Like, keep that in mind. And dealing with pressures and expectations is a real damn thing.
Yeah.
So this Orioles team, we're also not having this conversation if they had won that playoff series against the Kansas City Royals. They did that, and they made some noise against the Yankees. We're just talking right now about, man, this team just needs to get going and make a run. But since they haven't done it, everyone's doubting, can they do it? Which is a very understandable question. They haven't proven it yet, but they are a very talented group. And if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We have more clips from Mike Elias that's upcoming here. And we have Daniel Alvarez Montez of El Extra Base to join us soon to talk about a little bit of what's going on around baseball. But specifically, he's down in Miami. He's had a front row seat to Kyle Stowers just taking the National League by storm. Yeah. But Kyle, we got 3 cheesesteaks that, obviously I did a tremendous job of making, but talk to us about what we got.
You nailed it, Ryan.
Nailed it.
I'm always happy to be your wingman. 3 cheesesteaks, we went just classic provolone, peppers, onions. Second one, we went whiz with cheese, whiz, onions, peppers. And then the third one, since we're in the state of Maryland, we used our state food. We went crab dip.
Oh, hell yeah.
And bacon, just because, I don't usually go any place without bacon. So we went ribeye, crab dip, extra crab on top, and then some bacon.
Oh my God.
Let's eat, boys.
Look,
let's do it.
All right, actually,
I'll get Brad. You
want
want
to get Brad?
Zach's? Yep.
Yeah. And also,
thank you, sir.
And every Wednesday, it's fitness day here at the Ryan Ripken
Hell yeah,
Show studio.
I actually got my fitness done before the show.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah,
Guess who's waiting to do his?
I was jumping on boxes today.
You were?
Yeah.
Box jump. We can add that to the poll. We don't have a job.
I was gonna say we don't have a box right now, but we can.
But
later weeks.
What'd you do? Box jumps?
Box jumps was this where I squat down and I go all the way up. What's that called?
Thrust, like a
Thrusters. Thrusters, and
Squat
then
thrust.
what was the other one? Down here, and I flip the weights up on my shoulders.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember what that's called. But anyways, the 3 workouts, 7 sets. So my instructor, instead of doing like sets and like we're done, it's just do however many sets you can do in 7 minutes. So I went balls to the wall for 7 minutes doing all that. The box jumps were real easy in the beginning. And then that box all of a sudden got taller as time went on.
And the legs got a little bit heavier. For damn sure. So what we have right now is on our Wednesday fitness test here, brought to you by Merit Clubs. Well, let's just say we settled it yesterday, Kyle and Brad, and I am not the loser here. It is actually our White Star sales associate. And it's going to be a hefty one today. And we're one of the options you're going to put in here for people to vote on.
Yeah.
Jumping 2 minutes of jumping jacks with a weight vest.
Whew.
30 Bulgarian split squats, but 15 each leg.
Yeah.
Regular squats with the weights and the weight vest.
With the vest. Okay.
What should the last one be for our fans?
We thought of something yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
I forget what it was.
We've done burpees.
Yeah, we've done burpees. Well, it wasn't
ollie squats.
It wasn't sit-ups.
What about stair climbers, like put on the ground?
Oh, like mountain climbers.
Yeah.
We could put we could actually do the real stairs and put a vest on Zach. Then he just pops in the StreamYard with his phone and then just walks
all the way up and down
in
the
traffic.
stairs.
We can just send you in traffic, Zach, and just you have to dodge
the weight
cars
vest.
during rush hour. Yeah, like Frogger. Yeah,
we could do a little bit of like what Q told us to do, where you walk up the steps, take the elevator down, do that like
I
twice or
feel like
something?
that's going to be too hard today to do all that, but I do like the idea in general. for the
We'll have
most
Kevin
part.
do that.
We'll have Kevin do that.
Oh
one.
yeah, with the vest.
Yeah. You could also do, or it's a squatting theme today. I like the mountain climbers. Minute and a half straight of mountain climbers.
I'm in.
Provolone won the
Spend some
poll, by the
time.
way.
All right.
All right.
Provolone one. All right, I'm moving back over.
Eat up.
Provolone won, American.
Provolone
Cheese
one
Whiz.
and our
We're moving
poll.
back.
Yeah, American, and then Cheese Whiz was last.
Yeah, we do cheesesteak at the restaurant, and we're moving over to Cooper's American, which is like a white American cheese
Oh yeah.
and super creamy. It's got a really like pungent kind of sharp flavor to it.
Okay.
It's great. So
That sounds
we'll
amazing.
go in that direction here, but I'm interested in the crab dip one. I think that one's a little bit different.
Yeah, I'm headed there first, actually.
So good luck, Ryan. Thanks again for helping as always.
Yeah,
Hey,
good
you
job,
know
Rick.
what? I do my best here. And if you're new to the channel, we're cooking with Kyle and the Iron Rooster here. Every Wednesday, we do a different theme. This week, it's cheesesteaks. We got 3 of them. We are going to continue to talk about this Mike Elias sit-down that we had. We're also going to talk about a little other news around sports, MLB and the NFL. Obviously, there was a big trade out of the AFC North today, this morning. How about them Cowboys? And how about them Steelers? Our own Rocco DeSangro. We'd love his take. We actually heard part of his take earlier. But, all right, which one should I start with here, Kyle?
Want to go in order? Or you go just provolone or Brad's already.
I went straight for the crab.
Brad went to the crab
and
dip
it's-
already.
Effing amazing.
I'm
Yeah.
going to go. I'm going to start. I'm going to go in order.
Go in order.
So have a day, have a night, have a bite.
That's all.
Oh.
The bread's worth that.
Yeah, that's a great bread. Yeah,
No.
they do a great job. That gets sent in to us from Philly,
Mm.
and they know what they're doing up there.
Yeah,
They've got years and years of experience.
so good.
Definitely a great
Such a
great
good
addition. If you can
cheesesteak.
find that bread, I don't know if it's at grocery stores around here.
Yeah.
But if you know anybody in Philly that can send you down some bread when it's cheesesteak night at the house, yeah, that's the way to go.
Hell
This
yeah.
is me. I want to eat the rest of this so bad.
Oh no.
I know those workouts are going, so I'm going to pace myself until after I do that, and then I'm housing
That's a
all
good
those.
call.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. And, Nick, right here, you just mentioned about the position players are all playing subpar and somehow escaping without blame. That's actually what we just talked about. It's a team effort.
Yeah.
And if you have a great starting rotation, that can help alleviate other issues. If you have a good bullpen and you hit, that's going to alleviate issues. The Orioles haven't done 2 of the 3 well enough to win games. That's why they're a team that's below 500, 8 to be exact. It's not that they don't lack talent, but your star players aren't playing that way that you hope. You guys see that Padres game when the Yankees lost to the Padres. Pods came back in the 8th.
Yeah.
And the Yankees have blown a lot of games late in the games because of Devin Williams, whatever it may be. He's had his struggles. We talked about it yesterday. But they had 2 veterans come to the plate, former guys in the American League to be exact. Manny Machado with the bases juiced, delivered a big knock, and then Xander Bogaerts right after that came through and made a play, had the big hit. So overall, that's something that matters right there. Your guys need to come up with that big hit. Baltimore hasn't had that big hit enough. Ryan O'Hearn has had those moments. Cedric Mullins has had those moments. But
Is that, you think, something that's learned, or is that something that somebody has? Do you have that kind of moment gene that you
got to go through it
yeah,
to understand it,
okay,
if that makes sense.
yeah,
You got to go through it to understand it. And for the guys specifically, how do I want to describe this? With anything in life, some guys are naturally going to be better at it, so they don't have to work as hard at it. Other guys, you got to prepare. John Smoltz said the other day he prepared for Game 7 every single time. Throwing against the wall with a rubber ball. That's how he prepared. Other guys don't think and they have success. Other guys need to find what works mentally because it's not a physical skill for you to get to the bigs.
right.
When you don't hit in situations, what do you guys think? If you're in the big leagues and you're up there and you don't get the job done, saying that's more physical or it's more mental in the bigs,
Mental, without a doubt.
right? Because you're there. It's talent.
Yeah.
But the mental side is going, oh, how do I do that in that moment?
Yeah.
Jackson Holliday, did he get to the big leagues because he didn't, or he got there because he wasn't talented. No, he got through there because his talent was obvious and mentally he was prepared enough. But then was he doing enough at the big league level? Was it a talent thing or was it a mental thing? It was a mental thing.
You think it's a matter of, you look at somebody like a Michael Jordan, right? Who there was no fear. If he missed, he missed. It was on to the next one, as opposed to maybe people that are trying to, think about it too much almost, and you end up making a mistake. You almost got to get in that sense of flow, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you got to get in that sense of flow. No doubt about it. I'm seeing right here with Chris.
Yeah, I was just about to.
You think Mayo's struggles are mechanical or mental? Mental.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, Kyle Stowers, mechanical or mental?
Mental. And
he even talked about it. I think do you have that reel still of Kyle Stowers talking about his struggles?
Mm-hmm.
Zach? Well, let me get ready to play that up. Do you think Kyle Stowers got to the big leagues and his powers were zapped like the Monstars? No, right? But he even talked about it was frustrating where every level in the minor leagues, these guys who are dudes in the minor leagues, every year you advance the level if you're good. You just keep moving up. You keep moving up. And then you get to a part where you can't advance any further. Now you got to fit in. And so for Kyle Stowers, he didn't play every day. Yeah. He had to sit around. And you have to learn how to adapt to the best of the best. In the minor leagues, you might have a handful of those guys that are going to go to the bigs. In the big leagues, these are the best every single night. Yeah. And you might not play every day, and you better be ready when it's called upon. It's not fair for some of these guys. Like Kobe. Kobe's not playing every day.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. So I'm about to go on a rant. I'm not going to lie. Kobe Mayo was called up on August 2nd, 2024. The Baltimore Orioles have played 88 games since August 2nd, 2024. Kobe Mayo has 49 career at-bats.
Yeah.
He is averaging a little over a half at-bat per what the Orioles have played since then. Kobe Mayo hasn't gotten an opportunity. The same people that are done with Kobe Mayo are the same people that were done with Jackson Holiday are now talking about how he needs to be the leadoff hitter, how he's our best player. If you give up, it takes about 200 to 300 at bats, they say, for major leaguers to finally feel comfortable in their position. If you're giving up on Kobe Mayo after 49 at bats, I don't know what to tell you. Like, please don't go into managing any sort of team, because if you give up, we've seen players, Kyle Stowers, if you judged him off of his first 49 at bats, I'm telling you right now, the Marlins are glad they got Kyle Stowers, and Kyle Stowers is doing that. If you judge Jackson Holiday off his first 49 at bats, he had what, like 2 hits, a hit?
What about Cal Ripken?
Yeah.
Woof.
These guys, it
Guys
takes,
stunk.
believe it or not,
It was bad.
playing in Major League Baseball, the pitchers are kind of good.
Right.
Like I've heard a thing or two, but they're trying to. They're getting like, if you want to say Kobe Mayo is struggling in the field and you don't know where he wants to be positionally, that is a very fair assessment, I think. But if you're going, hey, he's a quadruple A player, he's never going to have it batted in the bigs, that we have no clue. Could that happen? Sure. Could he be the greatest hitter of all time still? Sure. We are 49 at bats into his career. Can we let the kid get an opportunity to consistently play? This is 40,
every game too.
This isn't even 49 at bats over a 2-week period.
Right.
This is over since August 2nd of last year.
And also, what do you think he's thinking in his mind? And we had him on too, Zach. He goes, I didn't hit a home run. I hit a home run once every 5 at bats, he said in AAA for one part of the year last year.
That's crazy.
One time every 5 games, he was going deep, going big ball, right? And then he got to the bigs and he hasn't hit one. Then he went into the offseason and you have those doubts in your mind. And then everything happens in spring training. And everyone's talking about, oh, you thought you deserved a roster spot? No. But what he's talking about is people have an expectation that you're going to be able to be this prolific power hitter. We've had a lot of people come on to give comparisons about what his power is, what his bat is. And I've seen it, what he's capable of. The talent's there. But when you get to the big leagues, do you think Kobe's thinking, all right, I'm just going to relax up there. I'm just going to try to see the ball. He was trying to do that. But also the human side, he knows I'm trying to prove myself. How do I prove myself? And I think that's what's popping into his mind, Kyle.
I got a question for you, Ryan. So when you're in the minor leagues, right, it's not as much of a team aspect as it is once you get called up, right? So you're asked, and when you're down, what's the mentality there from a minor league player? Because you can't be the guy that's, not thinking about the team, because that wouldn't obviously reflect well on you. But it's got to be a different mentality when you're being asked to do different things when you get called up, right?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is in the minor leagues, you want to win games, but your goal is to get to the big leagues. Your goal, if the team has lost 100 games and you hit 300, you're moving up.
I mean, let's even look at this aspect. I don't even think the managers at points are worried about winning. Like you talk about, even when we talk about guys going on rehab starts and stuff, they're told, hey, so-and-so needs 2 innings in this type of situation. They can't go, okay, I'm going to save my best reliever for right now because I want to win this 1-run game. It's, okay, we need to have these guys pitch X amount of innings per week or per, whatever their schedule is. We have to get so-and-so in. Oh, it's the 9th inning. Yeah, we have to get him in still. Maybe he blows the lead and people are like, well, why aren't you trying? They're trying to develop. They're not trying, the focus in the minors, like you said, Rip, you lose 100 games, but you get 5-6 guys that you're like, oh, they took big steps that year. That's a productive year in that level.
And the last thing I'll say with this before we get to bring our guest on here, when you look at players, and I said this all the time, all the guys that get caught up, like the big names, we're talking about them like they're almost like godlike.
Mhm.
These are the guys. Man, this is the best player since whoever. We're even talking about Sam Basayo right now. Sam's a can't miss. And I believe in the talent that it's can't miss. But you see how we're talking about players? And then they're being told that. And then you're going down and playing like that in the minor leagues. Win or loss, you're putting up video game numbers. Well, you're going to keep moving. And then you get to the big leagues where no one gives a rat's ass if you hit 25 home runs in the minor leagues. No one cares if you hit 3rd in the order for the Norfolk Tides. It's how can you be used at any point, and if you start to struggle, people are going to call you out in the big leagues. If you have success, great, that's expected of you. How do you help us win right now? If this was the Orioles 4 years ago, way different conversation where it's, hey, the expectations aren't high. We talked about it earlier in the show. The reason why people are upset is because the team is underperforming, and it's not because they're underperforming and they have no expectation. The expectation is to represent the American League and go win a World Series. That's where this Baltimore Orioles team and every player that's involved with the organization is dealing with the pressures of not only helping the team win, but proving to themselves that they belong in the big leagues. And that's a very hard combination. And our next guest, and we'll talk more about the Mike Elias interview, but if you guys obviously are following the Baltimore Orioles since we're based out of Maryland, you probably are following a guy that's down south in Kyle Stowers, and a guy that's been seeing a front close and personal show of the Stow Show down there is our friend of the show, friend of the program, and he joins us every time we're eating a lot of damn food.
Always.
With El Extra Base, let's bring on Daniel Alvarez Montez. Daniel, you always pick a great time. How are we doing, my friend?
Man, always picking a great time for food, right? But doing great. Happy to be back here. What do you have there?
We have 3 different cheesesteaks today. Okay, so we have a Maryland crab dip cheesesteak with bacon, which is phenomenal. We have a regular provolone cheesesteak, and then the whiz cheesesteak? Cheese whiz steak. So Daniel, I don't know when you want to come up here, but
it should be on a Wednesday.
You should come on a Wednesday.
I'm definitely going on a Wednesday. That's the top priority now. Whenever I go up there, I need to be there on a Wednesday. So yeah, but Kyle Stowers, man, annual player of the week.
Pretty good.
Big day on Saturday, 2-homer day with a walk-off grand slam. One of the coolest moments of the year so far here at Lone Depot. He also had the walk-off single on opening day. But that on Saturday, man, that was just so good. And off Mason Miller, one of the toughest relievers in the game. That was also remarkable. I love what he said at the end of the game, where he said that he doesn't rise to the occasion. He just sinks to the level of his preparation. Something about a book that he's reading right now where he learned that. So, yeah, I like what I'm seeing from Stowers, how mature he is right now, and he knows that he has to make the best out of this chance that the Marlins are giving him to play every single day. Playing good defense in both outfield corners. So yeah, it's really good to see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so happy for him, and we've talked about this, Daniel, because he's such a good dude, and he's been patient. He's been frustrated, and we had a clip we put out a couple days ago of, he wasn't frustrated with anybody in particular. He was frustrated that he wanted to try to break through, and he was having some hardships to do it. And then he goes to Miami, where they've been giving him a run. And then to cap it off, you're against the best reliever in Mason Miller, a guy that's throwing 102 mile an hour fuzz balls. And one of my first memories, Daniel, of Kyle Stowers was him hitting a moonshot opposite field home run. And sure enough, that grand slam to walk it off against Mason Miller, he's going the other way. It seems like the overall sense down there with him, right now, Daniel, I mean, it's only a month in, but he would be an all-star.
Absolutely.
Right now,
he would be a Marlins all-star, no doubt. I asked him about going Oppo because 2 weeks ago when I came on the show, I remember I told you that he hit an Oppo homer to left field with the roof open and the wind was blowing in. He hit also 2 Oppo homers in LA last week in the afternoon, and that was tough to do out there. And then when I asked him about it, he told me, like, I'm just on time with the fastball, and when I'm on time and hitting the ball to the opposite field the way I'm doing it, that's when I'm on my best. But he's not trying to do it. His hits are just falling that way. So, yeah, love to see what he's doing. I mentioned the self-confidence that he has in with himself right now, and that's paying off. And of course, they love him. He had a tough spring training in terms of results, but just the at-bats that he was taking. He walked a lot, especially in the last 2 weeks of spring training, and that was really cool to see because he was facing the pitchers that were almost in full go mode before the start of the season. So that's when we really start seeing that, okay, he's going to be able to do some damage because of the quality of the at-bats that he was taking. And sure thing, I mean, look at how good he's doing now. And for sure, I think he'll be in Atlanta in a couple of months.
I'm hoping there.
Me too.
It's a really cool thing to see. And Connor Norby obviously back and trying to get healthy and do his thing on the field. We always have our love for our Baltimore guys. But Daniel, another note then, because we're talking other things, baseball, and I know you cover a lot in the Latin community, especially with El Extra Base. How about Miguel Cabrera joining the staff for the World Baseball Classic?
I love it. When we talked to Miggy in spring training, I asked him about being part of the coaching staff, and he said, I don't care if I'm going to be a coach or the water boy or whatever they want me to do. I have to be there. It's not that I want to be there. It's like I have to be with the team. And he's been on every tournament since 2006, obviously as a player, coming off the Triple Crown year and All-Star seasons, whatever. But yeah, he's just going to be so good for that team because all of the players grew up watching Miggy and they love him, they like him, and he's not going to be like, okay, here's the information on this pitcher and this is what you should do in this counter or whatever. He's just going to be there as I wouldn't say a father figure, but as a great mentor that they all grew up watching since they were kids, and Miggy's just going to be there for them to support them, to tell them what he thinks of each situation or each guy that they're going to face. So yeah, I'm really happy to see Miggy. I don't expect Miggy to be the only Venezuelan star to be part of the coaching staff. So I would think that guys like Johan Santana or Victor Martinez, maybe Edgardo Alfonso could be part of this staff as well. But that's obviously going to be announced later on.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. But you know what I love? The fact is that look how many big name people want to be involved with this World Baseball Classic. And I know Miggy, he's moved on now, but he's going to go down as one of the greatest hitters of all time. And he wants to be a part of an event. And when you're looking at other sports, hockey with the Four Nations, what they did for the All-Star game, that opened this kind of door for what the possibilities could continue to be. But the World Baseball Classic's been going on now for years. So baseball has a tremendous opportunity to continue to grow the game, to continue to have the excitement, and to kind of bring in that competitive spirit from a national standpoint. So I cannot wait to see. Daniel, why don't you tell us what else you got going on with El Extra Base?
I wanted to say when
go ahead.
Related with that is that remember that we have the Olympics coming up in 28. Baseball will be part of the Olympics, so having a great WBC, I think that's gonna push MLB even more to allow their players to go and play in the summer in 3 years from now in the Olympics, and that would be even greater for WBC and baseball in general. To have that type of audience. Obviously, everyone's going to be watching the Olympics, and people love swimming and other disciplines. But having the big stars of the game in that tournament, it's going to be great as well. I love what you were saying about developing in the minor leagues, and I say this because then you see those prospects going to winter ball to develop more stuff, and they realize that if they're not producing within a week or two, they just got sent home. So they go there to develop, but also they need to win, and it's been so beneficial for so many players, Latin or American players, to go down there, no matter if it's Venezuela or DR, to develop, but also play in a winning atmosphere from day one, and I think that's huge to take into consideration as well.
It's cutthroat down there for the summer leagues, for Dominican, winter ball, whatever it may be in Venezuela. That's what guys talked about. You can get paid pretty well, but it's a passionate group. And if you're not performing, it's not like a contract we're keeping you here for the entire season. I have some of my former teammates, they got off to slow starts. They said, hey, thanks for coming.
Yeah, they will only give you, depending on how you look, no more than 10 bad games or a full week of not performing. Depending on what the team needs or how the plans are, because the thing about planning for winter ball is that you don't know for how long you can count with the players, because you can have a prospect. It could be in the R. I don't know. Let's say Ronnie Mauricio with Tigres del Licey when he was playing for the Mets, and then all of a sudden the team can call and say, you know what, we don't want him to play anymore. And you're in the middle of a playoff hunt or the round robin, the playoff, the finals, whatever, and you just lose that player, in a span of 24 hours or something like that. So it's very difficult to plan in winter ball, but you can also add that. If you had a bad week or 2 bad weeks, they'll just send you home, and no matter how good of a prospect you are in the U.S.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. There's so many different variances, but one thing that I think it's a great point just to drive home is that over there, it's so much more unpredictable, and it makes things a little bit unstable. And for players, when you're trying to break through the big leagues, that's the only thing that can be comparable when you're getting up to that next level, is you can be replaced, and you can be replaced quickly.
Correct.
So I appreciate you bringing that up. This is why I love it. Well, that's not the only reason I love having you on. You bring great insight. I need you to cook up here sometimes. We still got to get to Miami.
I need to.
But before we let you go, what else do you guys have cooking on El Extra Base, or where people can find everything that you guys are doing?
Well, of course, elextrabase.com. And I don't know if Kyle Stowers will be in Atlanta. Hopefully he will. But we'll be in Atlanta covering the All-Star game. So that's going to be pretty cool as well. So go read elextrabase.com or follow at elextrabase on all the platforms. And you'll have all the coverage there.
Awesome. And also your handle at D Alvarez.
Daniel Alvarez, Daniel Alvarez EE on X, and Daniel Alvarez _16 on Instagram.
There it is. Hey, Daniel, I appreciate you, man. You enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and I can't wait to talk about what we're eating next time and make you a little bit more jealous.
Man, that first cheese that you mentioned, man. Oh my goodness, I need it so bad.
We'll save you a plate, Daniel. I appreciate you, man. All right, you have a great rest of your Wednesday.
You too, man. Thank you.
Daniel Alvarez Montez, everybody. Hey. I actually love that he brought up with winter ball and how it goes down there. It's 1,000% true. It's like the light bulb goes off you get replaced so quickly. I did talk to some of my teammates in the offseason. They're like, hey, if you're pitching well or you're hitting well, great, you're staying in there. Or you have a team say, hey, that's enough innings for now. You're done. Or, hey, you're not doing enough. We're taking you off the roster. It's the closest thing you're going to have to that. Besides, if you're not a top prospect in the minor leagues and there's a threat that you're going to get released every single year.
Yeah.
Guilty. I've dealt with that where you're like, oh, you getting cut? I might, That's how I felt in 2019. I'm like, I came back from my oblique injury after I started off hitting 333 and I hit a $160 for the next 5 weeks. I'm like, I might get cut. This might be it. And then I played the Lynchburg Hillcats and had 3 multi-hit games and a 4-game set. And it saved my season. And then I hit 290 for that month, 305, I think, for July. But who remembers those types of things?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no one remembers that.
I'm sure no one.
I also hit 200 for an entire year in 2016 when I was in a mental pretzel. I was
How many dongs?
0, 1, 2. When I said that I was in a mental pretzel, I couldn't hit the ball off the tee. Want to talk about mental stuff? That'll be for a different.
Well, I was gonna say there's a lot of shit.
There was a lot of other things going on.
Personal shit going on.
There are, but that's the part.
Yeah,
That's the part that no
for
one
sure.
understands, and there's no excuse at the end of the day. You got to go and play, but there's more that goes into it besides than just what's going on with your talent. But if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We cook every Wednesday with the Iron Rooster and this crab one, Kyle.
What was the consensus? What was the winner?
The crab was really, really good. I think I'll be honest. I think it was a little salty because of the cheese and all that too.
Yeah.
But it was phenomenal. Still my favorite one.
Yeah, crab dip, is inherently salty. So probably could have dialed it down on the meat just
I think
a
you
little
put the
bit.
bacon in there too.
And I put the bacon. Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, if you're watching your cholesterol or you're watching your lipids or
Then it's not for you.
Lipitor.
Yeah, you're looking to get a heart attack. That's
Yeah.
the stuff for you.
All of these were insane.
Yeah, that
So good.
This
You barely touched your food.
because
He's
you not understand.
pace- yes.
I already told you my strategy. We're pacing until after, and then
Yeah.
I'm trying not to see the.
Is this helping with the workout?
that's
Yes.
that.
Hey, it's
Deep
half
Eddy
water.
Sponsor. Deep
Zach-
Eddy sponsor.
Yeah, Deep Eddy sponsor there.
And Zach and I have an agreement that he promises not to throw up on days that I'm here.
Yeah,
So we already had that talk.
We've the cheesesteak, that lot of bread, we would be seeing the bread again.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yes.
saving everyone.
Yeah.
And I'm pacing.
Good.
And then after the workout, you
Which
carb.
Zach has never said, as long as I've known him, that he's pacing on his eating side. He never.
I
mean,
always say I'm going to, but this time because before I was potentially doing it and I still just took the risk that I was going to win the coin flip and it worked out. But now we did it before and I just know my fate is up to these people in
Yeah.
the chat. So I was like, the more I eat, the worse it's going to get.
Yeah, shout out to Deep Eddy for allowing us to hydrate while we dehydrate every episode because Zach and I always pound these things every.
Yeah,
episode.
we're gonna need a new shipment.
We need a new
Coming
shipment.
back.
We're running out.
Well, that'll be the next thing is that Kyle and I are gonna do some cocktails maybe in the future here. I
like it.
We haven't. You guys are making all the cocktails at the restaurant here. We
Yep.
haven't had a chance to really work on that side of it.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a little brunch action. Treat yourself.
That's right.
Yeah.
Kyle partners with Deep Eddy too.
I do. We've got a great relationship with Deep Eddy. They've always been, a big help to us when it comes to obviously providing a great product, but giving us some help when we need to get the word out and the messaging out. Shout out to our friend Franny.
She's awesome.
And obviously Deep Eddy Dave. Everybody knows if you're from around here, you know the name. You may not have seen him, but
The
you
man,
know
the
the
myth.
name.
You've heard of him.
Deep Eddy Dave. We got a Chesapeake Bay Breeze that we're doing on the next menu coming out, which is using their Deep Eddy pineapple, and
Yes.
it is it's a classic.
Oh, you mean this?
I mean that.
It is my favorite
Yep.
flavor to date. And
Yep.
it probably will be for all time.
No, it's pretty stinking good.
Yeah, it's a great one, and they've just been super helpful. We deal with a lot of different vendors and companies that they go above and beyond. Franny is always out there. What can I do? How can I help?
Yep.
And we love dealing with her and Dave, obviously. But yeah, no, it's going to be a good one. I think we're excited for the menu.
I'm excited for this food right now.
Yeah, I got you mid bite.
Also, shout out to Kyle because he's always hooking me up with coffee when he comes to.
Yeah,
Appreciate
I'm a morning and coffee guy, and then I take a break. And
You need
then
that
I'm
2
an
o'clock.
afternoon
Yeah.
coffee. There's a
Appreciate
few
you.
of us out there that when I see Zach drinking the deep
Yeah.
Eddie, it'll knock me out. So I was like, I'll stick with my coffee.
I
at
just
this
drink
point.
both. Screw it.
Yeah,
But listen, Iron Rooster Coffee is also.
Yeah, that's a
on point.
Rise Up blend. I
Yes.
don't know if there's if anyone knows about Rise Up, but
Yep.
a great Maryland-based company. They do great things with free trade and organic. But check them out too. But yeah,
Out on
we
the
do
Eastern
it.
Shore, right?
That's where they are, and we do our own blend with them. It's called Cafe de Gallo, which Gallo meaning rooster, and they helped us create our own blend of coffee you can only get at Iron Roosters.
There you go.
And just another great partner, and that's what we love to do. The restaurant side, we love to find partners that are local, doing their thing, working hard, putting the messages out there. So yeah, thanks for that, Brad.
Of course.
crab cakes, brunch, coffee, and football. That's
what the Iron Rooster
that's what
does.
the Iron Rooster does, right
And
there.
Mother's Day. We got Mother's Day coming up. Make
There
sure
you go.
if your mom's still around or you have a good relationship with your mom, get her something coming up on Sunday. Take her out to brunch. We're happy to see you. Reservations still available in some places.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I also wanted to mention you did something for Nurses Week this week.
We did, yeah. So we're teaming up with Jimmy Seafood, WJZ, and we're going around to local hospitals. We started yesterday. This was the beginning of Nurses Week was yesterday. We were out again today. Yesterday was at Harbor Hospital, and we were at Franklin Square this morning. And we'll be out tomorrow, Friday, and then it all rounds up on Monday for Nurses Week. Big shout out to nurses. They obviously deserve way more than just a week of recognition, but we're happy to help, and our friends over at Jimmy's did the same.
Yeah, it's one of the most thankless jobs out there. So
100%.
appreciate you, Kyle.
it's a true definition of people helping people and giving back to people that consistently show up to try to make a difference for those around there and anyone also in the medical world. But nurses
First
this week,
responders, yeah.
thank you so much for all that you do.
Yep.
That's just a little gesture that you guys do over there at the Iron
Help
Rooster.
the helpers. That's what we say. Help the helpers.
Help the helpers. I love that.
Yeah,
Let's get that on a shirt.
There you go.
Oh,
Help
yeah.
the helpers.
Helpers helping helpers.
I'm here for that.
Yep. And the O's are fine.
Right? And they are.
They
are.
Goodness
Roll the
gracious.
clip.
Roll the clip. Roll it. Speaking of clips, why don't we roll the next one then, Zach? We talked with Mike Elias, obviously, today. And for those that have tuned into the show, appreciate you guys. And hit that like and subscribe button. We talk with guests like Mike and many others really weekly. We do 3 shows a week. So daily we're having guests. Today, though, with Mike Elias, a big talking point because the Orioles are struggling. They're 8 games under 500. In this specific clip coming up, I asked him point blank, and I actually saw someone on X, Zach, say, why don't you ask him what he's learned from this experience? And it's kind of funny. Verbatim did ask him, what did you learn, Mike Elias, from the last year plus as the general manager and with these seasons? So, Zach, let's play that clip.
A lot. I learn a lot all the time, but this last year and the struggles that we've experienced, really going back to like June of 2024, we just kind of stopped playing. We've been the winningest team in baseball. I think still are to some degree. And, we've been in such a rhythm from the latter half of 22 through the first half of 2024. And it just started to dissipate last June. Mm-hmm. And, we had to assess and react, and we're still in a mode of not playing well and not having that rhythm. There's so much that I've experienced in the last year that I think all of us have learned from, but baseball is very unpredictable. I never would have imagined the degree of injuries that we've had with the position player group that we've had, and the need to retain depth in that area versus on the pitching side. It's something that I just did not see coming. And you're told things, you learn things by listening, by reading, but until you experience stuff, it's really, that's the best way to learn, because that really leaves a mark. We've had a lot. There's been plenty of learning experience last year. I guess that's the positive of the way we've been playing, but I really believe in the talent of this group and the makeup of this group. And I think that we're going to get back to playing the the way we were leading into that stretch, and we're just working at it, and hopefully it's.
So right there, he's talked about, you got to walk the walk to kind of go through it, and you can read up on everything, and every GM will tell you that along the way. And again, he's admitted, hey, I've made better signings. There are things that I want back. And throughout the interview, he did mention about there's things that you learn along the process. I mean, heck, going back to the scouting days, you talk about who you're right on, who you're not right on, and then also, what do you learn from being in that position? He's been a GM now. This is his 7th year as the executive vice president and general manager of the Baltimore Orioles. The first few years, your team was trying to get back to some sort of relevancy. Last few years, your team has now gotten back and now contending, and now you are at this position where you're supposed to be the top dogs. I think the biggest thing that I heard from that, Zach, Brad, you cannot have enough pitching, period.
Yep.
I don't care if you have 9 starters and you don't have enough room for them. That was one thing watching around baseball. And Dan Duquette, when we had him on,
was just about to say that.
He said the exact same thing, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But the Dodgers, at one point, everyone's going, wait a minute, they signed like 7 or 8 starters. Why are they doing that? Well, Tyler Glasnow got hurt.
Yep.
Blake Snell got hurt. Look at how
Ohtani is still hurt.
Ohtani's still not pitching for them yet.
Right.
So you're looking at their roster and going, well, damn, now it kind of evens out. And for the Orioles, you signed guys, but then you were not accounting for Zach Eflin going down. You can say Grayson's had an injury history, but Grayson goes down. Chase McDermott is not healthy, and then now he's finally getting back. Trevor Rogers hurts his knee right before camp opens up. So it's a weird predicament. I think if the Orioles knew ahead of time, if you had told me, hey, you knew Grayson was going to get hurt in spring training, Trevor Rogers was going to get hurt again, and Chase McDermott would still have more time to progress, my guess is they would have signed 2 more guys.
Mhm.
But right now we're going through the list, if I read this correctly. And this is not just to say like, hey, they could have done more. They could have done more. I just want to go through how many arms right now are hurt and how many that they at least accounted for. So the starting rotation to start the year was supposed to be Eflin, Grayson, Dean, Morton,
Sagano,
Povich,
Mhm.
right? Brett, well, I'll get to the injured guys in a minute. So you have 6 right there, right? Eflin, Rodriguez go down. Now you're down to 4, okay? You have then, let's go to the injured list. Outside of Eflin and Rodriguez, which we'll start with, Kyle Bradish, Tyler Wells, John Means no longer here. You don't bring him back. Even if you did, he's missing time. So 5 starters. So combined with all of this, you're looking at 9 or 10 starters that they had on their roster. And Chase McDermott. So that's would be 6. So 10 guys for a 5-man rotation. 10. They got 5 of them.
Yeah.
6 of them on the IL right now. And that's not an excuse. I think it's just what he's trying to say is I should have gotten more pitching then.
Yeah.
I should have gone out and gotten, we looked at the best value deals yesterday. Kyle, Zach, Brad. Jose Quintana, 1 year, $4 million. Lefty, pitching pretty damn well. Cheap. Would have been a good position to go and get. No one expected him to have a 2.83 ERA through all of this so far, but he's been great so far. You make a decision to move on from one of your relievers and Danny Coulomb. Okay, you sign Kittredge, and then he gets hurt in spring training. That's not me making an excuse. I think that my guess is with Mike Elias moving forward, we are going to see an abundance of pitchers signed next year. I don't think I think it's going to be a ridiculous amount. And I hope it's a ridiculous amount because that is where this stems from the start for the Baltimore
Here's my
Orioles.
thing with this, and I'm not trying to be hypercritical, but at the same time, it's kind of the quality of the signings. And I know hindsight's 2020. It's kind of what Elias was trying to say. But when you sign a 41-year-old guy, a 35-year-old guy, it almost kind of feels like you're just putting bodies in place to make sure that there's somebody there when somebody gets hurt, rather than like a quality guy. And I wasn't here for the whole interview, so maybe this was actually covered or what. But for me, it's kind of like, we had like this unbelievable amount of talent in the farm system that we could have traded away for a quality arm. And as we've seen, some of the top tier guys didn't go for a whole lot, or we could have lived with some of the trades that were made there, specifically with like Boston, and some of the other ones. But that's kind of where I'm at. It's like, okay, yeah, but there were still other opportunities to sign other pitchers besides the Charlie Morton, for example.
I agree, and I think that's the one that everyone gets caught up on because Tomoyuki Sagano's actually been good.
He is.
He's been
but
good.
But there's still a high risk at a 35-year-old. Something happens.
I agree. I'm just saying of it's Charlie Morton because the team is 0-8 when Charlie Morton pitches.
Yes.
That is a stat that where you go, Ollie, where are you? Woof, over there. Oh, you didn't even budge. Ollie, come here. Woof. But that's the situation. The Orioles are 13-21, and they've lost every single game that Charlie Morton has pitched.
Yeah.
If they win half of those games, the Orioles are a 500 ball club. It's the Charlie Morton signing that everyone is looking at because of the age, and I get it. And at the time of it, you thought
age and the price. It's just like
and also Justin Verlander got that same amount of deal. Max Scherzer, guys that have been around. So it's ironic then that none of them have really fully panned out. Verlander's still going with the Giants, and I think he'll pick it up. But Morton, when you look at the track record, you're like, all right, well, he's done well every single year. Even if he regresses, he's not going to be that bad. But that's where everyone's going. It goes, damn, he has been that bad for the Baltimore Orioles. It's the Charlie Morton deal. Anything else? If the Orioles had traded for a pitcher, we're not having this conversation. If they signed Nick Pivetta, which a lot of teams didn't want to sign Nick Pivetta, and you guys are probably wondering who the hell is Nick Pivetta. If you don't know, Nick Pivetta, I'll say his name one more time. Nick Pivetta was on the Red Sox with a pedestrian average ERA. And he got a 4-year, $55 million deal, and he is dealing for the San Diego Padres. You could have spent money there. Nathan Eovaldi was not coming to Baltimore. I want to get that out of people's heads. I saw that in the comments. That dude was going back to Texas.
Yeah.
It's where he played. He loves that team. They gave him a competitive offer. All right, see ya. Jesus Luzardo is this one comment that I saw. You wanted Jesus, you could have had him. But who did he just come from? The Marlins? I think Mike's still soured on the deal with the Marlins personally. I thought he gave up more, and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
And he might not feel as good about things with the Marlins. So if they make a deal in the future, I'm wrong.
Yep.
But Jesus Luzardo has dealt with arm injuries. You make a choice not to trade for him and Garrett Crochet. Those are the two guys. You could have had one of them if you wanted them. Everyone else, I don't blame it. And we're not having this conversation if Charlie Morton doesn't have 180 million ERA throughout the course of the season.
Yes.
And I feel terrible for him.
I mean, nobody wishes that on somebody.
But we're not having this conversation if he's out there not doing it. Or,
there's 29 other teams having the same conversation.
Oh, my
too,
goodness.
Right? About their own staff and their own issues. Hiring's hard.
Yeah.
I tell you, just in business, hiring's hard. Projecting what someone's going to do, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years from now is difficult. It's a difficult job. If it was a perfect situation, everyone would do it. It's hard. It's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
It is. It is. And people don't want to admit this as well. Not every GM is going to get every call right. And he has to live with getting his calls wrong. Right now, the Trevor Rogers deal does not look good. Now, the only thing you hope now is Trevor comes back and he's able to help this team.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, it's going to go down as this could go down as one of the worst trades Mike Elias has ever had. All you can hope for right now is that it isn't. You can go right now. Zach Eflin was good. Great.
Oh, yeah.
But this is the part of sports. Baseball is unpredictable. You want to get the call right. You're not going to get every call right. You're going to get a lot of calls wrong. Why the hell does Ryan O'Hearn have a higher OPS than a lot of hitters? Kansas City didn't even want him a couple years ago. The Orioles, Kyle Stowers didn't play well in the big leagues. Okay, move on.
Yeah.
Who else do I want to go down this list for? It's a ton. You go to a place doesn't always work out, right, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really what you have to try to project out. And Zach and I had a good idea. We think that regular jobs should have to stand in front of the press and admit your mistakes. Yeah. Like John from accounting has to get yelled at in
you
public.
spreadsheets off last month, John. Are you out of your prime?
Answer questions about it as we go. Zach, that was a great idea.
John, you're getting paid $85,000 a year. I don't know if that's worth it for the two mistakes you made on that spreadsheet. Yeah. I mean, the people are wondering if you're, if we got to move on.
Yeah, we're gonna DFA you. Yeah. Actually, send you back to college.
You're gonna get put on waivers, and we're gonna see if one of the other corporations has a spot for you.
Yeah, our Wichita office needs a new account. We're sending you to Wichita. Yeah, nope, that's hard. It's hard. It's a hard job.
Yeah, and look, the other part here, and this is part of it was with Elias, part of it not, with Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome. Tanner Scott, Evan Phillips. Evan Phillips was my teammate in AAA. I love Evan. He's coming back from his injury. They prioritized that he wasn't going to be a part of the equation. They made a choice. They got to live with that. Tanner Scott, he wasn't pitching well in Baltimore before, and then they gave him a chance, and then they moved on from him. So actually, he got 2 shots. I'm not saying that it's right for every move, but then look at guys that came over. Like the Twins were like, yeah, Yunier Cano. Yeah. He's a really good bullpen pitcher. Really good. Ryan O'Hearn is a really good big league hitter right now. Not saying Ramon Arias.
Well, and when the Orioles made the trade for Cano was like an afterthought.
It was an afterthought
for that.
You traded Jorge Lopez in the middle of a pennant race, or to make the wild card for the first time in 5-6 years, and that was a part of getting Yunier Cano.
Right.
And you could say he blows saves or whatnot. He is every team in Major League Baseball in a bullpen would take Cano.
Yeah,
they would.
Yeah.
So
without question.
So we want to go back to that. They did make trades when it was a tough decision. Ramon Arias was a guy they picked up off of waivers because the Cardinals, I think he might have been a Cardinal. I got to remember exactly. They're like, Ramon, we don't think you're going to fit in here. And everyone wanted Ramon Arias off the team for the last 2-3 years. And what has he turned out to be? The best utility guy that the Orioles have.
Gold
Glover.
Yep.
So this is the part of baseball that no one likes to talk about. But here's one thing I will talk about. And I wish maybe we get this clipped up in time, Zach. I got to go and find it. Mike Elias did give a timeline on when teams usually hit that, not because they hit a panic button. He'll never say that. But where you're like, we got to be movers now. We got to make a choice. And Zach, do you know where that part of the clip is? If I can try to pull it up for you real quickly. But essentially, paraphrasing, I've always said the phrase, we got to get to June. You can probably think that, I'm just a homer. Well, no, Bobby Cox told Mark DeRosa 40, 50 games. That's mid-May. I was told growing up even by my Uncle Bill, Calvin Edwin, we need to get to June. See what happens.
Yeah.
We're to get to June. Zach, I'm trying to clip that up real quick, or do you want to try to clip it up?
From Elias.
Elias's part of there.
Yeah, I can try to.
I think I have it right here. Or if you can try. Actually, do you mind trying to pull it up? I think it might be at the 8 minute, going after the 8 minute mark.
Yeah.
If you don't mind looking at that.
Yeah, I got it.
Thank you. If you can clip that up and we can get that out. And if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday right here. And it's Cooking with Kyle on the Iron Rooster on Wednesday. There's so many different facets of it. I know we went heavy with Baltimore today. Heavy. I mean, we are from the Baltimore region, hence we're going to talk about the Orioles. And I know that the Caps just lost yesterday down in D.C. in overtime, which I feel it was a tough game.
Yeah.
Canes are good, man.
Good.
Canes are a good team.
Playoff hockey is so much fun.
Oh my gosh.
The best.
By the way,
I don't watch regular season hockey, but I'll watch playoff hockey.
We didn't even talk about the Blues Winnipeg Jets game 7.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Overtime.
3 seconds they scored with.
Yep.
The Blues were up 2 goals with like 2.5 minutes to go, and they lose that game.
Yeah.
I want to
Playoff
talk
hockey.
about playoff hockey.
The best. Yep.
Nothing like it. Nothing like it at all here. Oh, goodness. Goodness. Are you getting that there? Well, while you're clipping that up real quickly, why don't we go to a quick lighter note here? If we're talking about what could have been, Brad.
Yeah.
Why don't we do a little bit of football, what could have been? Mike Elias did tell us a story today of what could have been for a certain potential Hall of Famer, should be a Hall of Famer in the future. We'll release that when we drop the full interview. But it also got us talking and thinking about, well, what could have been if this surefire, probably first ballot Hall of Fame tight end, Brad, was the Baltimore Ravens. So can we play that clip for you guys real quick?
Yeah.
Baltimore Ravens were going to pick me. I think it was a 25th pick that they had in the draft. But then Denver and Josh McDaniels came scooping in and traded with the Baltimore Ravens. The Denver Broncos took Tim Tebow. I just got booted out of the first round. The Ravens have the 43rd pick now. Well, then the New England Patriots got a sniff of it, and they traded up one spot before the Baltimore Ravens at number 42, where I got drafted. I also heard through a grapevine that if I didn't get drafted to the New England Patriots, Greg Olsen was going to get traded that day for a draft pick to the New England Patriots because the Patriots were looking for a tight end.
That was crazy.
Could you imagine?
Gronk being a tight end? I mean, he would have gone down as the greatest tight end of all time in Ravens history, and that's going up with like Todd Heap and all the other guys. So
and maybe the Patriots wouldn't have had some of their runs without Rob Gronkowski.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, he was the difference maker. I mean, obviously Tom Brady won Super Bowls without Gronk, but like he really won Super Bowls with Gronk. You know what I mean? So like he could still do it. He's the greatest of all time and he had done it, but you got to think, could he have won a Super Bowl with the Bucks without Gronk in that Super Bowl game? Not saying like getting to the Super Bowl, Gronk wasn't really much of a factor, but in that Super Bowl game, he was. So it's just like crazy to think what Joe Flacco and Gronk would have done.
Joe Flacco.
Could it have been his second Super Bowl, at least one more? It could have been because you have the AFC Championship game before they won the Super Bowl in 2012. Then there was another playoff run after that. I mean, with Gronk being around that time in Ravens history, that would have been interesting.
I would have loved that. I would have loved that so much.
Lee Evans wouldn't have gotten the ball in the end zone that game.
Oh, I feel bad for him. Also, we did talk about that Billy Cundiff missed the kick, but like Billy Cundiff actually had a really good year until that moment.
Yes.
And then that's a moment that lives in Ravens infamy, unfortunately, here. Oh, goodness gracious. I know eventually we wanted to talk on the trade.
I need the options for the poll again, please.
The options.
I put them in the chat, but
sorry. Options for Zach. Jumping jacks for 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Bulgarian split squats.
Bulgarian split squats. Yep.
Mountain climbers.
What was
Ollie squats. No, not really an
No, it
Ollie
was-
squat. It would just be wearing the vest and
Yeah.
squatting.
Oh man, let's do it.
I still can't believe you hardly touched your food. You're a little bit nervous about this.
I know it's getting to me. Like I keep looking over at it, and I've picked up this specific sandwich 3 times to eat, and I'm like, you are so gonna. I've kind of accepted that it's probably gonna be like jumping jacks or something, and I'm just like, it's a lot. But I keep staring at it. This is tempting me. This is rough.
Oh, it's very
This
rough.
is actually, I'll say this is worse than when I'm virtual for it because like now this is here. Like before, like it's like, okay, the food's not there and I'm watching.
Oh
it.
no! I don't have to work out.
Now
today.
I'm like sitting there and I'm like staring at it. I want to eat it so bad because all of these were incredible. And I have to keep telling myself that like after the workout.
You know what?
I have to earn
I
these
can count on
calories.
Kevin right here. No. If Ryan and I had to eat all of our food before doing the exercise, Zach has to also.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kevin. You don't know how to pace yourself? Maybe game plan?
yeah, that wasn't in the rules.
Yeah.
Maybe it should be
Also-
added to the addendum.
Yeah.
Also-
I might need to.
Also, Kevin didn't have jumping jacks as an option.
Yeah. Kevin
to be
was-
quite frank, if you're putting food in your belly and you're doing jumping jacks, that's just not.
that's a lot of movement up and
Yeah.
down for the stuff.
Yeah.
So those are the ones in. You put the poll in, we'll see what happens, right?
Yeah, so far the Bulgarian split squats are in the lead at 43%.
Ooh. So that'd be 30
I'll
total.
fight
Do
everyone
most
in
people
this
know
chat.
what a Bulgarian split squat
No,
is?
and that's
Do you
why-
wanna
that's-
demonstrate
that's why-
for us, Scott?
That's why I bet people are voting. People are
My
probably
back
voting for it
hurts,
because they
but-
haven't seen it and they want to see what it is.
I think that's what it is. If you would have called it something else,
I know.
it might just regular squats.
Yeah, if we would just said split squats, I don't think anyone. It's the Bulgarian. People are
Yeah.
like, "What's he got to do with
It
that?"
must
Yeah.
be hard.
Yeah, it must be
Yeah.
harder because it's Bulgarian.
Yeah, because the Bulgarians do it. When in Bulgaria,
When in Bulgaria,
right? That's the old saying. Then when in Bulgaria. Do you have that clip when we need it?
Timeline.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, we have that clip. We'll play that in a moment with Mike Elias. One other note that we need to talk about: there was a giant trade since we're on football.
Yes.
George Pickens left the AFC North. Left the AFC in general joined the Cowboys. The Cowboys needed another wide receiver with CeeDee Lamb. They get it. And I don't even know which clip. Maybe it's just saying do we just do Ryan Clark talking about this? Because Ryan Clark, former Steeler, friends with Mike Tomlin, he talked about this today on Get Up real quickly. And we'll play that clip of how he thinks that, well, if the Steelers are moving on from George Pickens, there's got to be a lot of question marks. So let's play that clip.
Boys were in the hunt to look for a wide receiver this entire offseason. They had not made that move yet. They finally do, and I will tell you that the Steelers have been looking at their wide receiver room for quite some time. They tried to get Brandon Ayuk last year in a deal from San Francisco. It didn't come to be. Instead, they traded a second-round pick for DK Metcalf and then gave him a $30 million a year contract. George Pickens entering the final year of his contract. And I would like to correct some people. Some people think that he is a diva or he's cantankerous. I talked to the Steelers folks. George Pickens is demonstrative on the field, but he is not an uncoachable player. In fact, he does have a great way about him in the locker room and is very well liked in Pittsburgh. For the Dallas side of this, they sat on an all draft. Everyone wondering, why are they not drafting a wide receiver? Why are they not drafting a running back? They took an offensive lineman. They get a player who I think is the best available prospect for a third-round pick, and then they can decide if they want to re-sign him or not.
Listen. So that was Peter Schrager on that first video here.
By the way, it's still weird to see Peter Schrager on ESPN.
On ESPN. But it was saying, I go, well, you know, the Steelers are saying, no, he just can be very vocal on the field, but they have no problem outside of the field. The Ryan Clark clip that we have right on the other side, Ryan Clark has a different opinion of that. And we want to play that one for you guys real quickly.
That Mike Tomlin consistently says he doesn't run from coaching. He doesn't run from teaching. He doesn't run from grooming. And so if George Pickens, with that immense amount of talent, can no longer exist in that locker room, it's going to be difficult for him to exist anywhere. And we're looking at a Jerry Jones who doesn't make moves very often in the offseason, now saying at this price, I have to make this move if I want to make my team better. And so to me, it's how do you handle him? To me, it's how do you incorporate him into the locker room? And we heard Shadi talk recently about the way he moved Dak Prescott and Micah Parsons' lockers next to one another. He better be focused on doing those things and making sure that George Pickens gets the football as well, because it seems that he could tear down the locker room.
I like the trade, honestly. I like it for the Cowboys.
I do too.
This is one that, like, after last year, all the offseason BS that went on with Dallas, this is one that actually made sense, and the Cowboys got better for it.
I agree. I think the Cowboys, in the short term, I'll say in the short term because I don't know overall how they're going to navigate re-signing Pickens, plus also they're paying Dak and CD and all these guys, and then they haven't paid Micah yet. I think this is a classic Cowboys. They're thinking in the moment, and then like a year they're going to be like shit. But for this year, I love this trade for the Cowboys.
Yeah,
it was CeeDee Lamb and friends in that, you know, they had Brandon Cooks, but it was nothing like there was no one after CeeDee Lamb that you actually had the game plan for.
4, 3, and 5. I mean,
yeah.
I know they're going to have to pay him, but if you're Dallas and you didn't address that in the draft, which they didn't, they improved their offensive line. Dak Prescott, you give him another weapon, and Dak's probably going to be not as mobile as he used to be. And it's like every year he had, obviously, going back from the ankle injury. Mm-hmm. Now you have the hamstring injury.
They still need a run game.
He can throw. Well, and you know what? I think that their run game will be better than last year, but you know how you can help the run game, and your quarterback will go get another dynamic wide receiver. If that's the ball they want to play, they should. Now you have a first-time head coach in Brian Schottenheimer. A lot going on there in Dallas, but I think the bigger question for me in Pittsburgh, who's going to play quarterback? And where's your offense going to be? I mean, the Arthur Smith system is we're just going to run the football.
Yeah.
And we're not going to use – if people were mad about, I guess, with Greg Roman in Baltimore, well, I don't know if you've seen the Arthur Smith offenses, but it is very predicated around we're going to run and we're going to run and we're going to run.
Yeah.
The Ravens are still going to find a way to lose that game in Pittsburgh, 12-9.
I
with 4 turnovers in the red zone.
The biggest loser of this trade is DK Metcalf, because now not only, at least before, if you're going to be stuck with Mason Rudolph as your quarterback, at least like there was George Pickens across from you, so like they couldn't just double you. You're going to get now it is literally play 9 in the box, put 2 people on DK Metcalf, and then the Steelers are not going to move the ball 10 yards the entire game. Like
with
that's
a mediocre quarterback. Because at this point, that's all that's left.
are they just going to
That's
give
all that's
Will
left.
Howard the keys at this point? Like, is that the best? Like, is Mason
They're
Rudolph?
gonna
Like,
bring Ben Roethlisberger back. Somebody.
Yeah, Tommy Maddox from back in the day might come back, you know. So
DK thought he was about to be a part of Pickens, himself, and Aaron Rodgers, and
Yeah.
now it's he and Mason Rudolph.
and I really thought that the Steelers would be like, okay, they might have a little bit of an offense. And I'm saying this now like they're going to compete. They always do. But, man, that offense actually –
They're only going to compete because of their defense.
well, and for what it was, we're looking at the AFC North. The Bengals are going to have Burrow, Chase, and Higgins. The Ravens are the two-time defending AFC North champions with Lamar Jackson and that whole offense with Derrick Henry, Andrews, Bateman, Flowers, plus a very talented defense, the most talented in the AFC North. Pittsburgh they're going to rely on their defense to win games, and they're going to try to play ugly. That's how it looks like it's going to be.
Yep.
I would say I hope the best for Pittsburgh, but I don't want them to beat the Ravens.
Don't mean it.
And I'm really curious what will happen here. But hey, if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on YouTube and on X. And we got to sit down with Mike Elias today. We're going to have the full interview for you guys later on. And speaking of stories, Mike Elias did tell a story that you guys
This was.
Yeah, Brad.
Yeah.
I had him talk about a scouting story. And a player that I never thought he would have brought up, he did.
Yeah, and he was like, I don't know if I have any stories. Like, okay, I got one. And he just starts telling it, and then he name drops everything, and you're like, this isn't like your go-to, like, oh, this is my scout. Like, this is
That sounds like sounds like to me that is typical Mike Elias. I'm sure he has thousands of stories.
Oh, he led that off. He goes, it's like when you ask me to give a story, it's like have me recount a lot of my life.
Yeah, he's
I'm
like, a
well,
story on scouting. That's like asking someone, tell me a story from your life. He's like, that's all I do. He's like that.
Yep, it was good times there. We enjoyed the conversation. We'll have one more clip. But before we get into that clip, we got to take a trip up to our friends at Hollywood Casino Charlestown Races in West Virginia. Boom. And we'll be going to Charlestown at Hollywood Casino in West Virginia here next month at the end of June. We'll be up there.
Do we have dates for that yet?
I believe it's June 20. It might be June 28th. I think is that Saturday, that last Saturday.
Okay.
In June. We're going up there, doing a live show, going to be hanging out there, doing some things, having some sushi, maybe hang out at the sports book, maybe see a show. They got a show there that night.
What's the show?
I got to look at it. I'm not exactly sure off the top of my head because I was looking at a couple different dates.
That's good. I put you on the put you on the spot.
Well, I saw who's the guy from I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry. He did King of Queens. Kevin James. Kevin James, I think, is going there. Just went there a week ago.
Yes.
So just missed him. But you guys don't have to miss out on this. You like that little segue? If you become a new player on ESPN Bet, you bet 10, you get 100 in bonus bets. And on top of it, you get ESPN Plus first 30 days on us just for downloading the ESPN Bet app there. Hollywood Casino is partnered with ESPN Bet. But you must be 21 or older to gamble. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or our good old friend Rocco DeSangro. Zach, you did mention that you did hit last night. I got a little bit frisky. I said, hey, Cedric Mullins and Ryan O'Hearn, each over 1.5 hits, plus 800, 100 to win 808. Well, it didn't happen. Freddie Freeman did. And actually, not only did the Orioles not do that, Pablo Lopez shoved it right up there.
Yeah.
There. By the way, everyone's saying that Pablo Lopez is getting traded for like, oh, you can just hand off a prospect. Pablo Lopez is freaking good.
Yeah.
And if I'm the Twins, I'm not trading him. I'm not trading Joe Ryan. And I actually think that they're going to turn it around. But Zach, you're 1 for 1 so far on this week. What is your bet for tonight?
Gunnar Henderson didn't get a hit yesterday to end his 9-game hit streak. So we're going 2+ bases tonight for Gunnar. I think he, I think this is the game. The Orioles offense. I feel like I've been saying it every once in a while, and so far I've been semi-correct. This just feels like one of those games where the Orioles are going to have, I don't know how many runs they'll score.
Who pitches for the Twins?
It's, what's his name?
It's not Joe Ryan.
It's
That's
Joe
tomorrow
Ryan's
night.
tomorrow. He's got 2 names. I just know
We actually
something
even-
Richardson. I feel like. But I'm going Gunnar Henderson. I'm so mad I didn't pick. I was gonna do Freddie Freeman home run yesterday, but I was like, I'm just gonna stop the home
Keep
runs.
it safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna keep it safe. Of course, he goes yard. I was watching, and I was like, I saw it leave, and I was like,
I was actually looking while you're pulling that up. I was actually looking at the baseball tonight parlay.
Hip hip
Uh,
parlay.
yeah, so plus 56.24.
ooh,
If Kyle Schwarber, Aaron Judge, and Bobby Witt Jr. all hit jacks today,
It's a
might be
bold-
worth the $1
It's a bold strategy
to make
Cotton.
$56.
It's a bold-
and the
bold strategy,
Twins
Cotton.
pitcher tonight is right-handed pitcher Simeon Woods Richardson. I knew Richardson was the
There
last
you go.
name.
You're close. What's his stats? I mean, is Gunnar had got a good shot against this guy?
He's got 1.74 home ERA this year, so he's got 4.03 ERA altogether. We'll see. He's
All
he's
right.
put together a few decent outings, but hasn't really left the 5th inning. So we'll see what happens.
We will see what happens. And you know what? I was trying, because of our guy, Kyle Stowers, I was just trying to give a screw it. Kyle Stowers, I think, is playing this afternoon. I think they're playing in 15 minutes. Damn.
Yeah, they
Can't
have a
get
lot
her
of
out.
day
A lot
games.
of day baseball today.
Yeah.
A lot of day ball.
We already have 3 games ended.
So, all right, we'll see if you go 2 for 2 this week. Zach,
see.
on that, he's 1 for 1. We know that he was not. You were 0 for last week.
Okay, we didn't have to bring it up.
Listen, everybody has
Twitter?
their slump. Everybody has their slump.
No,
Orioles
they
Twitter,
don't.
As soon as someone misses a few or
Jeez.
let a guy cook.
Let a guy cook. And you know what? It's interesting. For a long time here in Baltimore, a lot of people said, hey, let Mike Elias cook. In Elias we trust. And all of a sudden, just like that,
Sucks.
worst GM ever.
Terrible. Fire.
Ever.
Fire everybody.
It's very interesting how quickly the switch can be flipped. And you know what? It's like in The Dark Knight.
Just passionate fans.
When Harvey Dent goes, you live either you die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. It's kind of what it feels like right now in Birdland for what's happening.
It's funny you brought up the Batman reference
Yeah.
because a lot of people think that you could be the next Batman.
Who says I'm not already?
Just the Bruce Wayne.
Who says I'm not already?
It's that 5 o'clock show.
Well, yeah, that's why you don't know where I am at night. Just running across the rooftops here. I'm vengeance, so we got it. Oh, you're not. What's that one line where it's like, oh, then you're gonna like me? That could be me.
I
That could
was
be me.
born in the dark.
Yeah. What a great series and movie. But you know what? To cap this all off with Mike Elias, we did ask him one of the questions, and we mentioned it earlier. When do you start to then feel like you got to make moves, right? I always said that we had to get to June. Bobby Cox and Mark DeRosa, that we heard that was around 40, 50 games. Well, again, we asked Mike Elias that, Zach. So can we play that clip? And let's hear when Mike Elias says, hey, we're really going to have to start to really push to make some changes here.
A little more art than science, and especially, with the expanded playoffs, that's given every team a lot more opportunity and I think a lot more hope. And, that is a factor. The old adage predating the expanded playoffs, I think, was around like Memorial Day. I think I'm watching this team every day. I'm following this team. We're managing this team every day. And my focus right now is just day to day, getting things right, getting guys healthy, trying to get some semblance of our rhythm back, which has been escaping us. And there's just no way around that. So we're just going to keep doing that. And my focus is on that. And I'm very optimistic that we're going to get back to a level of play that's much more representative of the talent level on this team and the way we've been the last few years. So, I'm not at a point of worrying about later in the summer yet.
So you heard right there that Mike Elias, typically before they expanded the playoffs, that Memorial Day was where a lot of GMs would say, hey, we've had a 2-month crash course of what our team is or where they are and what we need to work through. He's saying it's a little bit further back, but I think it is that right timing. And it lines up. Look at the Orioles schedule for the rest of the month of May. Okay. The Orioles have one team that is currently over 500 the rest of the way. That's the one game over 500 Milwaukee Brewers, who gave the Orioles a lot of fits last year. But for Baltimore, this is an opportunity for you guys to get right. Now, if you don't have a winning month this month, and now you're into June and you're sitting 10, 15 games under 500, there's going to be some changes. You're going to have to go through it. But luckily for Baltimore, if there is a silver lining here, you have this month, and the Yankees are currently leading the division only 4 games over. So you're 5.5, 6 back at this current moment. There's a whole lot that needs to get better for Baltimore. A whole lot. And again, you guys are hearing me say it. I'm not, hey, this is Ryan Ripken, homer of the Baltimore Orioles here.
Everything is fine.
Everything is fine.
The O's are fine.
But I've also said, get to June and we can really have an honest conversation of what it's going to take for them to get back in this thing. Because if they play well this month, they're already going to be back in it just by default. If they don't, then you're going to have to sit there and go, how many games are they out? And who could they have come back? And what is a realistic option that they can do to get better? But at 8 games under, and on May 7th, they got the rest of the month with a very favorable schedule. Now it's going to come down to these guys. Can they go out there and execute? If they do, great. If they don't, we're going to have a whole different answer. And I am sure that Mike Elias is going to have a whole different tone as we get into mid-June. So I'm thinking, by hearing all this, I think mid-June, if the Orioles are slumping, we're going to see some changes. That was kind of my initial thought from the conversation today.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's one of those things right now, especially where it is still May 7th, obviously. And for a lot of baseball teams, we haven't seen anyone in the AL East run away with it. You know, the wild card, it's not like there are 3 teams that are absolutely taking over and, everything's gone. They have, I've said on, this show, Kevin Zach React, once they hit June, like you said, this month of May, because of how quote unquote easy it is in the fact of you not playing, except for now the Brewers, who are 1 game over 500, only 1 team over 500. If the Orioles cannot get within a game or 2 of 500 by the time this month is over, it's time to panic, and it's not like, okay, we can still figure it out. If you are 5, 6 games, 7 games, 8 games still under 500 by the end of this soft stretch of May, you have to start having the tough conversation of, is this a good baseball team? Or do they need to retool, get rid of some guys on some expiring contracts, try to build some sort of future plan, because, not 3-4 years down the line, maybe get some guys that can help you next year and beyond. But if you're sitting 8 games under 500, like this May is massive. They have to scratch back some sort of resemblance of being competitive in this, AL East in the wild card by the end of May. If you can get to within 2 games of 500 by May, get to 500 by end of May, that's a success.
And it's going to take a lot for them to get to 500. And I'm not even saying they need to get to 500 ball by May. They need to get in striking distance. And technically they are, but let's be honest, 8 games under 500, they're not playing a good brand of baseball. This is through 44 games or 34 games, the Orioles have played more bad baseball than they have good. That's the reality of it. If they can just be in striking distance, because we've seen in the past, through 50 games in 2019, the Washington Nationals were 19-31. The Mets, who I don't think anybody gave the Mets an opportunity to make the playoffs last year. They were a below 500 team in the middle of June. And then they ended up getting hot, making their way into the playoffs. And then they ended up falling to the eventual champions in the Los Angeles Dodgers. So a lot can happen. You know what your weaknesses are, but now you have to try to help with those weaknesses. Those strengths have to start to become strengths. If they don't, you're going to stay in this continued stretch of below average ball. And Tim, I saw your question. You were saying, Ryan, you said change will happen after 40 games. I said, well, that's what Mark DeRosa was saying. You have a good idea. That's Bobby Cox. I told you to start the show. I was told growing up, got to get past May.
Yeah.
And Mike Elias even just said right there what GMs, why we haven't seen moves, why we haven't seen teams be aggressive early.
That's why you don't see trades ever in the first 2 months of the season. Ever.
You don't. And Mike Elias just even said the word was before the expanded playoffs was Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Which is in another 17 days. That was the earliest that teams were like, all right, hitting the panic. But now at the expanded playoffs, and now you have more opportunities to make it, teams are going to wait longer. I'm not saying that the Orioles should or shouldn't, but that's the thought process right now. It's just we're hearing mid-May or mid-June, we're going to see where the Orioles are. And my opinion is that Elias will have a different tone or a different perspective on where the team is. For better or for worse, it sounds like mid-June is going to be that time. So I'm excited. And we have that whole interview that will be dropped here later on the Ryan Ripken Show on the Ryan Ripken Show channel. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. We're live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday right here on YouTube and X. And we always get a great list of guests here. And again, I want to reiterate this. You don't have to like what the Orioles have done. You don't have to like the moves that they have made. You don't have to like the manager. But at the end of the day, there's one thing to be passionate. There's another thing to be reckless. You know, Mike Elias is going to make mistakes. He's going to own up to the mistakes. He has. Doesn't make you feel good, but he has. On a personal level, I hate seeing shit like people going after personal attacks on people. You don't know the person.
Yeah.
That's my one thing. You can be pissed off all you want. Say that you're doing a lousy job. When you take personal attacks at people and their character, that's where I have a problem where they don't warrant that. You want to say he made lousy trades? Go right ahead. You want to say that Brandon Hyde's not putting the best roster out there and give him a chance to win? Go ahead. Going after personal attacks, don't do that. And I'm more inclined to talk about that because I dealt with that shit my entire life. I dealt with that shit even when I played. And the reason why I'm always careful of what I say, and people confuse being objective, Brad, with just being biased with objective, is being objective. You can take out the emotional side of it.
Yeah.
The bias is when you're mad, you sometimes can do some things that you regret and say in the moment. And I've done that as a player. I've said some things I wish I didn't say, you know? Sorry, Tom, when you almost threw me out of the game. He didn't. Sorry, Tom. But you see my point. And for the Baltimore Orioles, though, I do applaud that you took accountability. Mike Elias, Brandon Hyde, they're out there, they're working. And if they don't do well, the reality is someone's going to lose their job. That is a fact. So you can leave it. You can disagree with me, but that's all I have to say about that. Brad.
Yes.
What do we have on the poll?
All right. So if you guys didn't catch the poll, we put up a poll as far as what Zach is going to be doing at the end of the show, brought to you by Merit Clubs. Go to meritclubs.com. There's a link. Did you put the link in there?
I did. I'll put another one right in here.
You can join, and is it free 30 days?
And it's 2 weeks right now, but the pool is opening this weekend here.
So free 2 weeks at Merit Clubs. Go to meritclubs.com/Ryan-Ripken to get your free 2 weeks. What is Zach doing? 42 people have spoken. And Bulgarian split squats wins.
I know it.
Jumping jacks came in second. Mountain climbers and weighted squats tied at 19%.
Too. The Bulgarian ones. Did we say weighted vest or weight?
Weighted.
Weighted. Yeah.
Well, how strong are your legs? That's a good question. How strong are your legs?
Once again, have not done Bulgarian split squat since.
But you've been running.
Yeah,
sure.
like
You've been running
like twice.
Yeah,
so
he's been training for the half marathon.
Actually, you know what? I'll put the weight vest on first and start. And if I'm like, okay, this is too easy, then we'll.
Oh my God.
We'll go. So let me guess.
Hey, go get that weight vest here. And this is what we like to do constantly here at the Ryan Ripken Show. We like to have fun. We're trying to get more ways to get this studio going. You know, overall here. And actually, do you want to? You want to just move that camera here, so you don't have to do the top one, or you want whatever's easiest for you. We like to have fun here. We're going to find more ways to bring that fun to you all. And we're actually going to try to find a way, maybe down the road, to get some more live studio audience. Our studio audience would be fun in this place. We're working on all that as we speak. But we are in a work in progress. So all of our channel members, the Rips Good Kids, the Holy Shirts and Pants, and I appreciate your guys' patience because I have a little care package that's coming your way. all of it from the bottom of my heart. And for everyone here at the Ron Ripken Show, we thank you because your guys' donations and subscriptions to the channel has helped us continue to grow to this day. Started this just about 19, 20 months ago consistently. And now we're in this position where we're able to cover and have great guests, bring you content 3 times a week now, content daily on Instagram, X, YouTube, and wherever you listen to your podcast. We're on Spotify and Apple. And then we have opportunities now to show you how much we appreciate you by putting us through hell, but we're actually helping each other.
Yeah,
People helping people.
I also want to say we need to be consulted on the live studio audience thing because not everybody they're going to be hand selected. Let's put it that way. This is a secret location, and we don't need crazy people coming up here.
Well, I'm just saying, like I was talking to Matt Holliday the other day. I'm like, hey,
That's
Matt, you want live studio? Come on in here.
Yeah. No, well, you said audience, and it kind of scared me a little.
Well, we could have other audience members here that people may or may not like, Can't say who it could be, but they could be in here. Are you okay?
Yeah, I kind of feel like a badass wearing this right now. I'm not going to lie.
So you know how many times I've worn that?
Probably never felt as badass as I do right now.
Oh, my goodness.
He's looking at his imaginary studio audience.
Yeah.
I was like,
I'm not going to lie. I was more looking at the couch like, God dang, I have to do this.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, 15 each leg. Are you getting the weights though, or do you think it's too much for you at that moment?
No, let's ease him into it. Yeah, we don't want to hurt Zach.
That's what I said. I said if it's too easy to start, then I'm going to add.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, work your way up. Fine with that. You should do a split squat and then, do 5 split squats and then shoot a basket.
Oh, you know what I like here? This is what can happen. You're gonna do 5 each leg, and if you miss and if you make it, we take 5 off.
Oh, okay.
Pool table end right there. Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. So you're gonna do 5 each.
Great idea, Brad.
So we're starting with.
Good idea, Brad. Great idea.
So we're starting with 30 total, 5 each leg, but then I get a shot, and if I make it, I subtract 5.
Correct.
All right, let's do this.
So you got to do 30 total. 30 total, 15 each leg.
Unless I make it.
Yeah, but we know that's not going to happen. Do we add 5 on for every miss? Do we dare? What do we think? Okay, so if you make it, if you make it, 5 off. If you miss it, 5 on. All right, let's do a round number 4 because we're doing 15 each leg, so we'll just add 2 more onto each leg. Okay? Yep, here we go. All right, here we go. Ready? 1, good. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. Other leg. Look at the flexibility right there.
People underestimate. Oh, I just felt something. I heard that. Yeah,
That was loud. Are we okay?
Yeah, we're feeling good.
Is anyone a physical therapist? Just your knee? Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5.
Studio looks amazing with this shot, by the way.
It's fantastic. All right.
Here we go.
Here we go to take 4 off. Oh, get him, Ollie.
That's terrible. Holy shit, that was terrible.
Okay, so I did 10, so I have 24 left.
24 left. Yep.
Yep.
We'll do it.
We'll 6 and 6 here.
Yep, 6 and 6. 1001.
This is highly entertaining.
1002. 1003. 1004.
Zach with the lettuce in the back.
1005. 1006.
Yeah, Ollie's there for you.
He's there. He's there for the defense here.
Nomadic Brian says, I don't think I could do one of those right now without hurting myself. Yeah, it looks really tough, especially with the weight of
I get told all the time that Zach and Rocco go to the gym. All the time.
Do we not see this show I'm putting on right now? There you go. That's for
No, Jesus. He wasn't even close.
It's not even close.
Why are you throwing it so hard?
These aren't even competitive shots.
No.
Like, this is getting ridiculous.
So bad.
if we keep playing,
Okay, I have 18 left.
18 left.
Why did I agree to the basketball thing? I thought my shot was way better. All right. Here we go.
We might be here for a while at this rate.
Oh, we might be here for a while.
We might have to modify these rolls.
But this is good. It's working on the hip
2.
flexibility.
Yeah. I mean, hey,
You got it, Zach.
it's all you, bro.
And we're all about having fun here, honestly.
I'm going 6 each leg to get down to then I'd have 6.
12. Yeah, it'd be 12 total.
6 left and worse, I have 10 though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Here we go. We're going to find out.
This leg is the trouble.
You guys can thank Merritt Athletic Club for, or Merritt Clubs, I guess. Merritt Clubs for this highly entertaining content.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that we love about this, yeah, we're joking around, but fitness, besides maybe for Zach, we're having fun with this at his detriment and also his gain.
This is
All right, so I currently have 6 left. If I make this, I have 1 each leg. If I miss it, it's 5 each leg. 10.
Yeah.
Correct.
Come on, Zach. Give us something close. Oh, Jesus.
Dude.
Hit the back of the rim every
You
single
just
one.
slammed the
Yeah,
backboard.
but you haven't hit the rim on its own. You've hit the, like, the glass is not open. The bank's not open.
Hey.
Every time I'm getting too much spin.
Yeah, you're hitting the backboard first. Again.
Jesus.
Oh, yeah, get there.
Oh.
No more defense. We've had enough.
Defense. Defense.
We have a
That's how we teach them.
we have a Merritt Club's employee watching.
Liam, appreciate it. Hey, man, we're doing a show there next week. That's the plan. Ollie, get him.
The pool gonna be open then?
Yeah, it's opening. Oh, yeah, it's opening this weekend.
There we go.
Oh, we got 5 left.
Zach is huffing right now. I don't blame him. Hey, he's doing the form is good. He
It's
hasn't
pretty good form.
He hasn't skimped on any of them.
You know, we're talking about the pool. Zach could use a little sunshine on those legs, on
It's
on
not
those
happening.
puppies.
He says. Yeah, I mean, I could use some too.
Yeah, that's not happening. But we did it.
Nice.
That was what?
Great job, Zach.
That ended up being
You missed 4 shots.
45. No,
5 shots.
I missed 4.
So 16 extra.
Yes, I had 46.
46.
Whew.
How you feel?
Actually, good.
I'm telling you, I'm just trying to help you out. People
I'll
help
take a bite of this
here.
damn sandwich.
He earned it. You earned the
There you
sandwich there.
go.
Look at that. Yeah, we got to work on that touch. Brian, I agree 1,000%.
It's real bad.
The thing that gets me is, Brad, is like Zach, Kevin, Rocco will make comments like,
Yeah.
oh, well, about
But how amazing they are.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then I sit there, I'm like,
Meanwhile, I'm like, yeah, I'm a dad who, eats a lot and doesn't work out a lot. At least I have self-awareness about it.
But
I'm working
hey,
on improving.
you're honest about it. But for me, they come at me like, oh, we're going to whoop your ass or something. Guys, I can't wait till we do a class at Merritt. I can't wait till we have to go across the bars.
When we do a class, we saw the form.
Yeah.
We saw the form. Picturesque.
That, sure.
Yeah.
Picturesque, all right. Any other notes here? It's been a great show. And we appreciate you guys. And shout
It was
out.
fun.
Kyle had to
Had a
roll,
fun
but
show.
the Iron Rooster, shout out the Iron Rooster. They have been our backbone from the start.
He always feeds me every time, every Wednesday. He's like, "Here, take some food."
He
I'm like, "Hey,
is.
thanks."
And you know what? This is something that they've always done. They always want to help and give back.
Yeah.
And that's our ultimate goal here at the Ryan Ripken Show as well, is we like to be around people that want to make a difference and an impact. That's something that we are trying to do moving forward. We're in the media space here, obviously. And what we're trying to do and bring to all of you is a place where you can feel comfortable, vent, have fun, and have a release from the everyday of what's going on. And we got a lot more fun things as we continue to grow here on the Ryan Ripken Show and Ryan Ripken Media. What Merritt location? I think we're going Canton.
That's the one. That's the only one with the pool, right?
No, there's got other ones that got pulled. It's the only one with the rooftop.
That's
pool.
what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, penthouse.
Yeah.
But then we should try to get a. I should talk with them about like us doing a class. Get some people involved in the class.
Okay.
I could be or if we do a yoga class, I could be the yoga instructor.
There you go.
I was a fitness. I told you I was a dance instructor for my senior year of high school. We were promoting the dance. and I put on my 80s fitness outfit because we were promoting 80s fitness. And I put on a fake mustache, and my name was Pierre.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it, though.
Call on Me by Eric Prydz was the first song. And the second song we used was Sexy and I Know It
Hell yeah.
by LMFAO. But that's all we have at the moment. Anything else am I missing? If you're a channel member, we appreciate each and every one of you.
Shout out to nurses.
Shout out to nurses. Shout out Iron Rooster. Shout out Deep Eddy Vodka. We're going to need a
New case.
new case. And they also provided the Papa Shot. Amazing.
Yes, they did.
And
Thanks for that.
Hollywood Casino will be up to see them up in West Virginia next month. And as always, Mayor Close, we appreciate you.
What's
Anything
on the
else?
show tomorrow?
What is on the show tomorrow? That's a good question. We've been trying to, there's a couple guests that we're working on getting. We actually are in the process of trying to get Tyler Loop. Might not happen. New Ravens kicker, but
Okay.
we're working on that.
All right.
We also were trying to get Mr. Danny Coulomb to join the show.
Okay.
Don't know if that will happen either. It's been a little bit stagnant
Well,
on it.
we got some friends over there in Minnesota.
And let's just say there was a few people that we were trying to figure out here that might be in the football community. A couple that are from here specifically.
Oh, okay.
Not Nick Moore though,
I was just
because
going to say, it ain't Nick Moore. We've tried our best.
That guy has just fallen off the face of the planet.
Not in the chat, though. He'll text every day. But the second that it's like, hey, come to the studio, radio silence.
He just doesn't respond.
Radio silence.
Hey, how's it going? You want to come to the
random
show?
conversations going on? Nick will be responding every 30 seconds.
I'd be like, how come I don't get invited to the show? I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
open door policy. You just never show up.
You just text us.
yeah. Well, it's good that he knows what's going on. It's good he knows what's going on. You know what I told Nick? The only person he's got to fear is me. And he goes, "Oh, I'd kick your ass." I'm like, buddy, you might have you might be the bulkiest long snapper, but you know what? If we're going by wittiness,
Not the quickest.
no, man. Now Tyler Linderbaum, I will say he might whoop my ass. That is a guy I ain't messing with. Nick Moore,
Yeah.
I saw what happened in preseason games against the Falcons. I'm not worried about it. I ain't
We sure
worried.
did.
I ain't worried about it. All right, let's cue the music. Let's get on out of here. Bum, bum.
Bah, 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 bah.
As always, here on the Ryan Ripken Show, we appreciate each and every one of you. Have a day, have a night, have a great rest of your Wednesday. We'll be back again on Thursday for a brand new edition. More chatter, more topics, and more chaos. See you guys. Bum, 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 bum.